will defy a congressional subpoena and skip tomorrow's planned hearing before the House Judiciary Committee. The White House directed McGahn to ignore the subpoena, relying on an opinion from the DOJ's legal counsel, stating that based on long-standing bipartisan and constitutional precedent, the former counsel to the president cannot be forced to give such testimony, and Mr. McGahn has been directed to act accordingly. White House spokeswoman Sarah Sanders in a statement saying Democrats do not like the conclusion of the Mueller report and want what she called a wasteful and unnecessary do-over. Lisa?
Meantime, John, House Democrats have accused the Attorney General of trying to block legitimate oversight duties. One New York official is hoping Congress or the president will help fight a measles outbreak.
Rockland County Executive Ed Day sent a letter to President Trump asking for an executive order to be issued. Day cited, according to his letter, 233 confirmed cases of measles in Rockland County. He also said the outbreak began with infected travelers from overseas visiting the county. He seeks a White House order requiring foreign visitors present documented proof of up-to-date immunizations.
Fox's Gernal Scott. A Homeland Security memo is warning that drones made in China could pose a security threat, possibly being used to gather and transmit data to Chinese intelligence officials. This on top of the existing U.S. concerns about Chinese telecom giant Huawei. All of this adding to Wall Street's anxiety over the trade dispute with China. At the closing bell, the Dow down 84 points. This is Fox News.
Hi, welcome to this Subway ad for the new Sweet and Smoky Steak and Guac Signature Wrap. How would you like it?
I'll take my ex-girlfriend, just checking in.
Aw.
Hey, David, it's me, just checking in. I'm doing great. Just got the new Sweet and Smoky Steak and Guac Signature Wrap from Subway. Creamy guacamole, smoky sweet with Hio mesquite sauce, and double the tender steak. They just know what I want before I do. So, yeah, things are going pretty great for me. Subway, make it what you want. Limited time only at participating restaurants. Double meat based on average 6-inch sub. Okay, bye.
If you're driving, chances are you'll need gas soon. And by the growl in your tummy, a trip to the grocery store too. But don't just buy gas and groceries without getting double miles. Instead, apply for the new United credit card from First Hawaiian Bank and start earning double miles towards your next trip. Gas, groceries, getaway. With the new United credit card, apply at FHB.com. First Hawaiian Bank, member FDIC. Equal housing lender. Additional terms, conditions, and restrictions apply.
An accused cop killer could face the death penalty in Alabama.
The man police in Auburn say shot 3 police officers, killing one of them before leading law enforcement in an all-night chase, is now charged with capital murder. Chief Paul Register.
The suspect was someone that we were not familiar with before this incident last night. We have not had any dealings with him here in this community. He was in the military for a number of years and just someone who worked locally.
The suspect is 29-year-old Grady Wayne Wilkes. The officers were responding to a domestic disturbance when Wilkes is accused of firing on them. The murdered officer is identified as William Beekner. Eben Brown, Fox News.
In the midst of U.S. tensions with Iran, an attack near the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad over the weekend, but no U.S. or coalition casualties, and the Pentagon says it is not investigating.
The rocket was fired just days after the State Department ordered that evacuation of non-essential staff from the U.S. Embassy and consulate in Erbil in northern Iraq. Experts say the evacuation gave Iran what it wanted, having the U.S. announce the withdrawal of some Americans from Iraq.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin at the Pentagon. Iraqi security forces are investigating. Another U.S. automaker is slashing jobs.
Ford says by August it will have eliminated 7,000 jobs globally, making up 10% of its workforce. It's cutting 2,300 U.S. jobs through buyouts and layoffs. Approximately 1,500 of the cuts have already happened. CEO Jim Hackett says in a memo to employees the restructuring starts Tuesday, and most of it will be finished by May 24th. Ford says it's nearly finished with its major global restructuring. Approximately 500 workers will be let go this week. Ginny Cosola, Fox News.
Ford says its cuts are white-collar positions. This as GM continues its restructuring, which includes some controversial plant closures. Recapping Wall Street, everything lower. The NASDAQ dropped 114. This is Fox News. In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
Hey, it's Mom. Somebody forgot to thaw the chicken, so meet us at Chili's for 2 for $25. Oh, and congratulate your sister for making the basketball team. She's thrilled. Love you. See you at Chili's.
Enjoy 2 full meal combos for $25. An appetizer, 2 mouth-watering entrees like our crispy chicken breast, smoked barbecue quarter leg, or smoked jalapeno cheddar sausage. Served with corn on the cob and french fries. 2 bold combos for $25. A full-on meal deal available nightly for a limited time. Together, we Chili's.
Okay, I think it's coming up soon.
Yeah, we're in Route 1 and near the airport intersection, right?
There, see it? What's the promo code? Look for the promo code.
Check out the Vantage Digital Billboard and reap the rewards. Catch the promo code on the screen and get $10 off your stroll ride by inputting the promo code on the Stroll Guam app.
Did you see it? You got it?
I got it. You just focus on driving.
Take advantage today and take a look at Vantage Advertising's digital billboard located on Route 1 at the airport intersection.
Day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 6 a.m. this Tuesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. A taxpayer-funded private health insurance plan that covers children in foster care on island expires at the end of this month when the money runs out. However, Public Health Administrator Tess Archangel telling the Post they're not going to run out of insurance because they have CHIP. CHIP stands for the Children's Health Insurance Program, which is a federally funded program and covers 91.5% of the cost of insuring children in foster care on Guam. It has its own local match, said Archangel, to make up for the rest, and GovGuam has already appropriated that match, so it will not run out, she said. But the $500,000 appropriated for the private health insurance plan for foster kids from Calvo's Select Care will run out on May 31st. Archangel said she doesn't know why they appropriated that funding because they're already covered by the CHIP program. When contacted for comment, Select Care Plan Administrator Frank Campillo told the Guam Daily Post, "We offered that insurance at GovGuam's request, but we have no quarrels with the views of public health." Sex offenders on parole will be required to report weekly rather than monthly starting next month. Michael Kinata, the chief parole officer for the Department of Corrections, said the change will take place as a result of what was going on in the last few months. Kinata announced the change during a legislative status update yesterday at the legislature that was called by Senator Therese Terlahi in the wake of the April arrest of Paul Santos Mafnes Jr. Mafnes was arrested on charges of kidnapping and sexually assaulting a 10-year-old girl after he was released on parole in 2014 following 18 years in prison on a prior criminal sexual conduct conviction. The focus of the hearing yesterday was on the Sex Offender Registry. The Sex Offender Registry is maintained by the Judiciary of Guam. It allows residents to search for convicted sex offenders by name and find out where they live and what they look like. The registry was established in 1999, and as of 2017, there were 883 convicted sex offenders on the Guam Sex Offender Registry website. That website can be found at www.guamcourts.com. During yesterday's hearing, Senator Terlahi, who chairs the Committee on Justice, said, "In order for our community to be safe against repeat offenders, we want to know who they are, where they are, and what they look like." We'll have more news after this.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Business travel just got easier. Take your data plan with you for only $10 a day to all 17 Data2Go destinations. Never worry about additional data roaming charges when you go where your business needs you. The US, China, Thailand, and so much more. Have the assurance you need to check emails, surf the web, and stay connected. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your account is Data2Go ready. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
10 minutes past 6 a.m. here at The Point. Guam police are asking for the public's help in identifying the two thieves who robbed the Champion sporting goods store in Manilao yesterday morning. Surveillance video shows the men stealing pellet guns, knives, and other merchandise. The robbers are believed to have gotten into the store through a crawl space in the wall. Both men have their faces covered with cloth. One of them was wearing a white long-sleeve shirt with light-colored pants. The other was wearing a white sleeveless shirt with light-colored pants. Anyone with information about the crime is asked to call the Guam Police Dispatch line at 472-8911 or call Guam Crime Stoppers at 477-HELP. The bids from vendors seeking to operate one of the gambling games of chance at this year's Liberation Carnival were open on Friday evening at the Mayor's Council of Guam office in Agana. If the winning bidders get cleared by the Department of Rev and Tax, Mayor's Council Executive Director Angel Sablan estimates a little bit over $400,000 will have been raised. The money's not in the bank yet. Rev and Tax Director Daphne Shimizu said that the bidders must get business license and tax clearances first. Neither Shimizu nor Sablan would release the names of the winning bidders until those clearances have been granted. There were not enough bids to fill all of the available slots, and Sablan said another round of bidding may be held. Only one bid qualified for the two House of Card slots that are available, and no one bid on the two slots available for the Beto Beto game. The decision on whether another round of bidding will be held will be made tomorrow at the Liberation Carnival Committee meeting. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike, now some weather.
Thank you very much for calling for it. Partly sunny today, Kevin, with isolated showers and some thunderstorms. Southwest winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. Expected highs today about 89 degrees. And overnight lows should be about 79 degrees. We'll take a look at the weather radar, and Mike will tell you why we're going to be expecting thunderstorms today.
Yeah, I got a lot of isolated showers out there. We can see all the stuff that was to the west of us now is kind of to the north of us, and we did get a little arm of rain. It swung on through overnight. Didn't give us much, and it looks like that's what we can expect. Just occasional isolated showers here or there. Most of the activity going to stay to the north of us because the storm system that's actually responsible for this is north of here. It's well north. You can see the spin in the clouds up north of the 20 parallel up at the top of the screen. That's actually the low pressure system that these troughs are associated with. Could get a little ripple of energy coming through, and that'll kick up the clouds. That's what will bring us the showers, but won't be anything widespread. I was really hoping the bigger part of that rainfall would move over us yesterday, but it just didn't happen. Took this picture this morning. Remember, if you about a month ago, I told you about a term called virga. And this is a great example of virga. Virga is rain that falls from the clouds but evaporates before it hits the ground. And on both sides of the picture here, you can see the little clump of cloud up there. It's got some rain falling out, but then it turns into blue sky down below it. Also on the far left of that picture as well, another cloud. That's kind of typical for this time of morning here, and you get a lot of those virga incidents happening in those clouds.
Well, I got all kinds of incredible pictures from all kinds of incredible places. Here's a shot from Pam Duvall's house. Looks like moon set over at her place, and a little bit of those pinkish clouds off in the distance that you were talking about. This one here is from Airplane.
That's nice.
Somewhere making its way towards Guam. Big Sister Shelley on her way back from a quick trip to the West Coast, and she's gotten this picture. It's on the way from, I think, Narita City inbound from that direction. So she got a great sunrise coming up off of the screen there. And I think somewhere around here might be able to scare up one from Ken Leon Guerrero's house. Because lots and lots of people living up to their expectations and following along with the homework assignment that I give. If you've got a great sunrise picture, and you ought to go out there and take a sunrise picture. Just you're up already. Just go and snap the thing. The sun's coming up at what, 5:53 these days? Right? Sunset tonight at 6:41. That's plenty of news and weather and lots of cool pictures together right here on 93.3 The Point. Brought to you by Bank Pacific, where others put branches. they place routes.
So what's the deal? Are you still paying for the right to have your checking account at your bank? Well, at Bank Pacific, we think it's our privilege, not our right. That's why we offer My Green Free Checking, where your monthly maintenance checking fees are zero. That's zero. And it comes with a free Visa check card and monthly green e-statements. My Green Free Checking. Bank Pacific today. Because having you as our customer, that's our privilege.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Viva Bank Pacific.
6:15 in the morning. Portions of the Ray Gibson Show this morning brought to you by American President Lines. APL is shipping the future. Micronesia Renewable Energy. There's never been a better time to go solar, except right now, or just got better. Solar with battery storage is available. 632-2613. You can call up and they'll get you a free consultation. Guam Regional Medical City, first choice for your specialty care needs. And remind me later on to tell you about one of my favorite doctors out there, Dr. Joseph Wiedemann, is going to be conducting a procedure never done on Guam. We've got some volunteer from over the 35th Guam Legislature. We're going to do a brain implant over at, I think this is going to be exciting, and GRMC may be the only place where we'll be able to do that.
Wait. So they're going to put some brain into someone, or just plant something into someone's brain? A little unclear.
I'm unclear on the procedure myself. I think it's an attempt to smarten things up over there. What have I got? Anyway, so we got that. The specialty care needs. Wait, there's more. Just a couple more. Guys over at Cars Plus, where they've got that Jeep celebration event going on. $6,000 in accessories could be yours when you get the keys to a Jeep Wrangler. Get to Cars Plus today before all of them are gone. And once you got that Wrangler in the garage, insure it. The Wrangler and the garage and everything else in the house and you and the cars and the motorcycles, everything. You can save up to 50% with Nanbo Insurance's Bundle Up Plan. Call them today, 477-9754.
If I only had a brain.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Ken LG, you got it. You got it there, buddy. We all remember that line. And if you don't, then you need to go and borrow a copy or download a copy or stream a copy of Young Frankenstein. Mel Brooks' Young Frankenstein, maybe one of the funniest movies of all time. A young and attractive and a vivacious Terry Garr in that movie. And, of course, the Igor going out there, going out and looking for a brain. Do you remember whose brain he was supposed to get? Was it a guy named Hans Delbecq? Was that the guy's name? Anyway, so he got the good brain that they were going to implant into this Frankenstein monster. They got the good brain, but he dropped it, and so he starts looking around for another name, and he found one. Who's this? Abby somebody. Abby who? Abby Normal. Abby Normal was the gag in that. What a funny movie. Thanks very much for the memory there, Ken. Welcome to the program. Excuse the mess. It is a Ray Gibson Show until it's not going to be here. We figured that'll be about 10 o'clock. Lots and lots to get through on the table of contents. A whole bunch of junk that I wasn't able to get to yesterday because I was just infatuated with the conversation about Game on Thrones. Now, it's Tuesday, and I recognize that a lot of you actually have lives that don't necessarily orbit around what's happening on HBO. I don't understand it, but I guess there are people like that are out there. Anyway, so I'm not going to give you any spoilers. Not even going to tell you how I feel about the program. So I'm going to have to kill and fill 4 hours with something other than Game of Thrones.
Well, I did not watch the episode, but judging by the the poor reviews on Facebook, it did not really do much for those that got to see
there were
it.
some people, that I can imagine, and so when we're in the clear, and I can not have a worry about spoiling it for everybody, then I'll just spend a little bit of time talking about why I think it was actually appropriate.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, most people think the writers should be subjected to the walk.
Shame. Yeah, I've seen something like that based on the last episode, and there were a lot of people that said, we got to get better writers in here next time. And the writers of the actual program came and said, well, you don't like it? You write your own GD show, right? You do it. You think you're so smart. What do you read a lot of comic books? Did you read all of the books back to back, cover to cover, and backwards? 988-5874 if you've got something that you want to WhatsApp to me. And I love the things. I want to give you excuses to WhatsApp me, and that's why if you got a great sunset image from last night, or you got a great sunrise image from this morning, love to be able to get those and stick them on the air. Where's this one? Sunset from the field. This one here from the field behind Ken LG's place, and as usual, just outstanding. Last night's sunset was absolutely terrific. And if you were anywhere where you could see it, I guarantee it was one of those things where you paused and you looked and said, that's really nice. It was a good sunset last night. A lot of color in there, and it was bright.
Yeah, with sunsets, it's funny. You either want a lot of clouds, like we had last night, where you get a lot of the colors and the light breaks down, or you want no clouds at all. That way you can get the green flash.
The green flash, right. And is the green flash a real thing? Is it? Do we actually get a green flash?
It
or is
definitely
it? Or is it just the what happens when there's no more sun in your eye, and your eye's already got that little retinal burn? Is that what happens in there? Or is it just it's a glint off of a bottle of Heineken that's out there in the horizon somewhere?
But the fact is, cameras have captured the green flash, so it is a real thing. Just as the sun slips right below that last little bit, that little reflection. A little light refraction, I should say. Yep, a little green flash.
I don't know whose house this is from, but another great picture of another great sunrise that we've got here on Guam. And the idea is, yeah, it's fun to talk about this stuff. It's fun to show off the technology that we got to use it. But the other thing is, I hope these literally give you a brighter start to your day. We've got a lot of heavy news and some hard news that we got to talk about from time to time. But at the end of the day, and frankly at the beginning of the day, we're all privileged to be here together, living on Guam. Speaking of being here together,
sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see the troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name.
Frankenstein. The name is Frankenstein. 6:21 in the morning. Welcome to it. And as usual, by this time, I got a whole bunch of people that are chiming in and making some kind of comment on something. So I need to start writing down. I've taken to doing this. So I was writing down the top 10 as they come in. John Ray was number 1. James Howard comes in second. Tony and Annette and Pinko Ada number 3. 4 is Dennis Bensour. Tommy Barcinas, cousin Tommy, at number 5. Landon Nadler. There's Anita Muffness in the Pretty Valentine's Eyes. Heather Perez. Ed Buendicho, I call him Bandit. And anybody that knows him knows why I call him Bandit. And Rico Blancaflor is online. Now, Rico probably could have gotten in earlier. Probably could have gotten the notification that he was on earlier. However, he, like he did yesterday, took some time to share the broadcast, and I appreciate that. If you're one of the dozens and dozens and dozens of people that are online right now that I can see, please do me a favor and go ahead and, what's the word I'm looking for? Go ahead, share the thing. Share it up for me so everybody can know that this is the really handy place to start your Tuesday morning. 6:22. Who's on now? Nick Perlowski is there. Randy Kruger. Daryl Slater. Don't see that name very often, but always excited to get him online. Gwen Timinglu. I got Rudy Magallanes. Ken LG is obviously online. Lynn Vince, Borja Polino. They don't start their day unless we get some here. And I better give you the heads up now. Next Monday, Memorial Day Monday, and as by now, I think everybody knows just how lazy I am, just how much I like being able to sleep in. I don't always sleep in, but the alarm goes off at 4 o'clock, and most days, 5 days a week, I go, okay, press the snooze bar and get up. But on holidays, it still goes off at 4. Sometimes I'm awake before that, and sometimes will ponder. I have options today, don't I? I don't necessarily have to snooze bar it. I can just shut it off and go back to sleep and start moving around about 5 or 6 o'clock or something like that. So Monday we're taking the morning off. So there's not going to be Ray. It's not going to be Kevin. It's not going to be Mike. It's not going to be Jerry Roberts in the Extra Point. You'll have to fend for yourself.
Actually, I think I'll show up anyway and just kind of sit in the studios because this is where I drink. This is where I morning drink at, 6 and 10.
Daytime drinking, morning drinking. I'm not, who am I to judge? Lynn, Vince, Bora, Polino, Pam Duval's online, Carm, Leon Guerrero, Hava John Torres, Charlene Marcia Show is there, Rut Rose Greeno, Danessa Lena. Yeah, I thought my microwave was being used too much. What's happening? Danessa, that is response now to a question. Today's title is a question. Why is my power bill 38% higher than it was last month? Have you gotten your bill? So I run the hot water machine for, I don't know, 20, 25 minutes a day, max. I mean, unless I forget. But I'm checking the thing all the time. So, I mean, I know on mornings where I might forget and not shut it off before I leave. Right. That's very, very, very rare. I bought a new air conditioner that has one of these, 20 Sears or something like that, and I don't run it a lot. I don't run the thing a lot. Obviously, it's only on when I'm at home and or when I'm sleeping. So I went from $172, and I thought $172 was high. Went from a power bill of $172 a month to $238 a month.
Now, I think you've been actually spending more time at home. You've been doing less running this month since the marathon.
Yeah, but
okay. Now,
I mean, it's almost a 40% increase.
Okay, but
I'm not spending 40% more time at home.
Okay, but what has been happening is it's been a lot hotter. This last 30 days, it's been really, really hot. And these air conditioners and things, they have to actually work twice as hard just to cool the room down to what you're used to.
What I'm used to. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not because we've had these long, hot, steady days. So I'm sure that is a component of it.
The thing about it is you can go to your electric bill and look at the per kilowatt hour rate, and if that didn't go up, then your usage definitely.
Yeah, well, the usage of the air conditioner working a little bit harder and things like that, but it's still jarring, and lots of other people are noticing this as well.
Blame it on Game of Thrones.
I'm thinking about doing something along those lines. Mark Mendiola's online. Nate Orn, Greg Karabrock, as I said, Cousin Tommy's there. Pat and Norma, Jean Flores, Louis Cabral, Juanita Machi. I got Doris Mendiola online. John Ray, Ismail. There's finally Ismail's name, but remember, he has to log in from the past. He's a day behind all of us here. So I think that's the big deal there. Elaine Zanani McDonald is online. So is Igna Kanata. So they increased the rates to balance out the raises. Who said that? What? Little sister Montesilva's there. Bob Lizama. Yes, it's a conspiracy. Second, you get the guys, the Consolidated Commission on Utilities, and gave the guys raises, illegal raises in executive session, had to pull that back out. But the money just disappears? It goes somewhere? Maybe it went someplace else. Maybe they're buying more artwork. Maybe they're, it's more crockpots, rice machines running at the place. No, it's true, because a lot of people, they'll bring their crockpots and their rice machines to work, so they don't have to make the electricity at their house. Anyway, so Tim Lahan's there, John St. Nicholas, Jimmy Howard, Melissa Salas Akimoto, Jeff Pleadwell from Pirates Cove, Andy Tidinko is online. Bob Lazama says, I'm with you on the power issue. Good. And there's Vince Duenas, Mingo, Lady D is online, Darlene Blas, whose father is an actual war hero, Linda Gabriel, and all kinds of other people that have found a way to spend their morning with me. No, I can't. What? Thank you. That's not a sad thing.
No, it's not. No.
The problem with technology. So that, my friends, is among one of the topics that's in my head already that I'm going to try to explore with since I'm not going to talk about Game on Thrones. Wait, hold on. I got a note from. Oh, okay, all right. So there's at least one person that I know who is consistently, habitually late watching Game of Thrones. Mm-hmm. But apparently she was able to watch it yesterday. I'm not going to mention her name because in order for her to watch it yesterday, she probably had to play hooky from work. So I won't say anything about her name. She just says it's okay for me to talk about it now because she has seen it.
But at least she was disappointed at the same time everyone else was.
I bet there was for a lot of people there was that moment. But and like I said, when we're in the clear a little bit more on this, I'll tell you why I'm not unhappy with the end of GOT. And I'm not, but I'll explain why I'm not a little bit later on. And you can listen to it and go, and yeah, I think I see where you're headed with that, Ray. Or you might just listen and say, what, like you're a movie critic? Now you're full of crap. So we'll talk about that and more, like I said, once I think everybody's kind of in the clear. 6:28 in the morning. Items on the table of comments. Besides that, what have we got? A weird weather pattern. It rained last night. It woke me up. It's so weird to hear rain that it woke me up. And I thought, well, this will be interesting. Is it going to be the kind of rain that sticks around over a couple of days? A possibility that we might have thunderstorms is kind of exciting, except there's, boy, the ones that we had last week. You remember that, was it Thursday,
right,
Friday
yeah.
last week? There's some biblical stuff.
That was.
And I tell you what, it sounded like they were striking in my backyard.
Yeah, and they almost literally were in mine because just down the street we had a power pole get hit, shut us down for a couple hours.
Right. Well, I mean, it caused us some problems here at the radio station, despite the really heavy stuff that we've got in front of ours as well. So you got to watch out for it. Thunderstorms might be interesting because we missed the rain, or we're missing a whole lot of heavy stuff coming down. But number one is scary. I remember I used to work when I was at K57. I work at the Bank of Guam, and one day we had one of those kind of summer thunderstorm deals, and I remember. I needed to leave. I mean, it's time my workday was done, and I'm standing there at the lobby of the bank, looking at not far. I didn't need to get far to get to where my car was, but I did need to be in the open, and part of being in the open was to go over the steel bridge on the other side of the river, to get to the other side of the river where my car was parked. And I remember being very apprehensive about that because this lightning can strike you and kill you dead, and it will hurt the entire time until you're killed dead. And I remember thinking, well, I really got to go take a chance. Take me out of 30 seconds to get from here to there. But still, I remember it being one of those kind of harrowing deals. And every once in a while, I run into the same problem. I take care of some of the maintenance at the transmitter site, which is up at Mount Ludum. And that's pretty high spot there in the center of the island, and we're used to getting lightning strikes there. Yeah. Well, and that, if I'm inside, I don't really consider it a huge problem. But in order to get outside the transmitter facility down to where my car is, I have to walk. I have to go through what is literally a steel cage. With steel stairs, and the lightning strike on that, and they will find little crispy parts of me, like King's Landing. They will find little crispy
with bits of clothing hanging off.
Jar things of Ray Gibson up there. So you got to be careful in times like this. Look, it's 6:31 in the morning, and we'll go over legislative calendars and all of that stuff, and talk about why it is that the electric bill is running, in my case, 38, almost 39% higher than it was last month, and all of the reasons sound pretty good. And if you want to throw one out, says that's just because they're greedy dudes over at GPA. You can if you want to. We'll see if I can get the real story here in a second. It's the bottom of the hour and time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, a U.S. citizen wanted in Minnesota on allegations of distributing child pornography has been deported from the Philippines to Guam, where he remains in custody pending an identity hearing this Friday. 40-year-old Gary James Dokulil was detained by Philippine authorities in Angeles City on February 22nd after a warrant was issued for his arrest by a U.S. District Court in Minnesota. The FBI has accused Dokulil of distributing child pornography to an undercover law enforcement officer utilizing a file-sharing network. Dokulil was deported here to Guam, will be subsequently sent back to Minnesota to face the charges against him following Friday's identity hearing. A former Guam customs officer has asked for a reduced sentence of just 1 year and 1 day in prison for cooperating with federal authorities over the last 4 years in the prosecution of Juanita Mosier and Raymond Martinez. In his appeal for a reduced sentence filed with the court, former Customs Lieutenant Henry Alvendia maintains he earned a reduced sentence by helping authorities bring down two of Guam's biggest drug dealers. Alvendia contends he should be granted additional leniency, citing the continued risk that he will face for the rest of his life because of his cooperation with prosecutors. Alvendia has pleaded guilty to accepting more than $30,000 in bribes and kickbacks He faces a maximum sentence of 60 months in jail, but the federal government is recommending a sentence of between 18 and 24 months. His sentencing is scheduled for Thursday. Senator Amanda Shelton has introduced a bill that would expand the prohibition against tobacco smoking in public places to include a ban on the smoke generated by vaping. Bill 138-35 would amend the Natasha Protection Act of 2005 to include banning the use of vaping devices in the same places that smoking cigarettes are currently prohibited by law. Electronic smoking devices were not around when the Natasha Protection Act was first passed in 2005, said Shelton in a release announcing her proposal. The law must keep pace, she said, with the advent of new technology. There are currently no laws on Guam to prohibit the use of electronic smoking devices used in vaping. Similar legislation, however, has been passed in the states of California, Hawaii, Alaska, Utah, North Dakota, Maine, Vermont, New York, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Delaware, and New Jersey. All other senators in the Guam legislature have signed on as co-sponsors of Senator Shelton's bill. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
I think I'm gonna. 6:35 in the morning, and that's iConnect time, run by the nearest iConnect, and ask them about some great deals that they can put together that are based on the way you use your phone. Don't need a lot of bandwidth, and don't buy a lot of bandwidth. Don't need the latest and greatest handset technology. Well, we got phones that will suit you and your budget. That's all at iConnect. Their number is 888-8888.
Experience the Take Care difference. Take Care members can count on accessing a high-quality, credentialed network of on-island providers, including the convenient one-stop FHP Health Center and Urgent Care, access to an extensive off-island network of providers, and the island's largest offering of free fitness classes and health education programs. You can count on Take Care to deliver comprehensive, accredited insurance coverage and quality health care when and where you need it. Take Care. Our island, your health plan. Learn more at takecareasia.com.
Traffic gizmo time. Let me take a look and see if there's anything that you need to worry about on the way into work today. A little bit busy in the Tumon area. I'm not exactly sure why that is, but you'll see northbound traffic as you get closer and closer to Santos Hill begin to get a little bit tighter and tighter through there. Maybe at that area around the reef and what's a Mescala 3, that little tiny one that they've got there at the corner. Anyway, so but once you're up the hill, it should be all right. Don't see anything on 1 and 3 that is going to be a problem for you. It looks like we got clear running otherwise from Jigo clear into the downtown Tamuning area and even further south into the downtown Agutnia area. You might run into a little bit of trouble and delays getting in front of the Big Navy in Sumai, but I think you're going to be all right. Nothing in front of Navy Hospital, and Anderson Air Force Base seems to be running clear now. 4 is nice, 16 is nice, 10 is nice. That's right now traffic here on The Point.
Legends aren't born, they are made. And during our Jeep Celebration event at Cars Plus and Mighty, you'll receive up to $6,000 in accessories with the purchase of a new Jeep Wrangler Motor Trend SUV of the Year. Customize your new Jeep to the way you want it. Or how about a new Jeep Grand Cherokee? Save up to $5,000. Or save up to $7,500 on a new Jeep Compass Sport. It's our Jeep Celebration event going on now at Cars Plus and Mighty. Cars Plus, driven by you. Accessory special cannot be combined with other offers. See dealer for details.
The Ray Gibson Show. Any speaker, anytime. Morning talk that matters.
Fine. Morning talk that matters. Fine. I'll see if I can find something that we can talk about here that actually matters, that will actually make a difference. I'll do my best for you. It's my morning assignment, and appreciate you living up to the assignment. It's got another one of these cool pictures of the sun creeping up over the alley. It says, "Well, better late than never." Well, no, you know what? It's just the idea that you've got an excuse to go out there and find the sun and start your day. So I'm glad that you were able to do it. Whenever you were able to punch in and do it. If you want to send pictures that you've got or videos, 988-5874. That's 988-5874. I will tell you, if you're tempted to send me the video of the dogs eating the guy, I already got it. And I played it. Some of you have already heard this yesterday, but I played a little bit of it on the player on the computer, and I could not make it any further in about 10 or 15 seconds in. Once the dog started to attack the guy and chew on him, it's just one of those things. It's hard for me to unsee that, and it's an interesting thing. But the way these dogs went after this guy and the vicious, we're not letting go nature of what had to have been some horrendous injuries that this guy sustained, if he lived. I didn't make it to the end. But I'll tell you what, that video freaked me out. So if you're going, Ray needs to see this. I already got a copy, and I'm not forwarding it because it's one of the creepiest things that I've seen on the book faces and in the social medias. Now, what I don't have is a video of the guys that snuck into Champion Sporting Goods out in Manila the other night and helped themselves to some BB guns and knives and things like that. There is some video there. The thing about that bothers me the most is that these guys, they knew where everything seemed to be in the store. So obviously they were casing it. They were also very, very aware that there was video surveillance inside the store, and prepared their bodies thus so that they were virtually concealed. I mean, these women, the guys look like women out in the Middle East. They get the only thing that you can see is a little bit of their face.
Yeah, both scenarios are hallmarks of either the place being very well cased, as you mentioned, or it being an inside job.
I had not thought about that. But again, I'm not the conspiracy theory guy. I'm glad that's why you work here. Inside job. Maybe. Is it possible that somebody watching that might be able to recognize a couple of physical traits?
I called it the last time.
I do remember that last time. So, yeah, it could be something like that. I don't want the boss to be able to see me. Otherwise, this guy is going to finger me for the crime. Interesting. 20 away from the top of the hour. 888-825-5888-TALK. Something is buzzing around here, and that's okay. You know what it is? It's a note for me to go to Mayor Savara's, starting us early this morning. Miss Mayor, how you doing there?
Hi, good morning, Ray. I'm doing okay.
I'm glad to hear that. Keeping you busy with the Mayor's Council and the Carnival and all that?
Well, pretty much for the villages, too.
Oh, the village as well. You've had a couple of tragedies up in the village, and there are a couple of issues that I wanted to talk to you about this morning. Unfortunately, lost a life up there with that 4-year-old boy. Still surprised that, as far as I know, there have not been any arrests in that particular case. Be curious to find out what the investigation eventually unfolds before us. What we eventually find out from that investigation. At any rate, there are going to be more people, I think, that will express their concerns and desires to see if they can get more of these speed humps, I guess we call them now, speed humps put in the village. Have you gotten more requests for that?
Definitely, Ray. Of course, because of these the tragedy that happened a little over a week ago. The situation, and I met with DPW Vince Ariola last week.
Mm-hmm.
And, he says, Mayor, don't forget, you guys still need to apply for permits to put these bumps in, So that's something to keep in mind, because we can't just buy it from a vendor and install it, So they do have to be regulated. Unfortunately, the small area that the little boy had that accident at is a small cul-de-sac. Less than 8 houses in their very immediate neighborhood. So that was an unfortunate incident. However, so of course everybody now is calling saying, well, we live in a cul-de-sac, we live near a school, we need a speed bump. And so of course things that we assess between DPW, our offices all over the island, because the mayors always get a request. And then, of course, we have to have consideration with the emergency response. Medics, it does. Every second counts when somebody is having a heart attack or a medical emergency. So, of course, our priority is the safety. So those are things that we have, and these things are not free, of course.
Now, there was one, I wanted one near my place up in Barragata Heights not that long ago, and my understanding was there was a process that you need to go through. You get like an application, but it has to be signed off on by, a couple of your neighbors, right? So if it's your place, and then we need to talk to the guy that lives next to you, and the one that lives next to you on the other side, and then the ones across the way, and get everybody's buy-in. Is that still the case?
Well, it's of course the assessments with the neighborhoods. How small is the neighborhood? How much traffic? If the traffic is, how many vehicles are traversing the area. Now, if it's only immediate 10, 15 houses in the area that just take past that small road, those are things that you take into consideration. Is it near a bus stop? Is it near areas where children are walking to school, and we have to, keep in mind the safety of the kids walking, to school? And are there sidewalks? So all those things have to be taken into consideration, Ray. And so, of course, and then we have to,
well, after we take them into consideration, who makes the final decision about go no go on bus stops, and the residents that are asking for them? How are they notified that your bus stop is coming, or we've decided that a bus stop is not appropriate there or not required there?
Okay, so with the installation of bus stops, there is a 3/4 of a mile policy at DPW, I believe. And way back, the old Education Policy Board, way back as far as I believe it was Gloria Nelson's time, where there was an agreement between DPW and DOE as far as the distance. What is a safe walking distance? Now, safe walking distance for a kindergarten student versus a middle and high school student could be considered two different things.
Mm-hmm.
3/4 of a mile maybe for a middle school and high school child, a student would be, reasonable, but not for a kindergarten 5-6 year old. So those things need to be determined. Bus stops, those, one thing that we had a meeting with GDOE and myself and DPW. One thing that we need to know is that DPW, who's in charge, who has buses that go to these designated shelter stations, pickup areas.
Yeah.
Nobody's funded to build bus stops. We don't have a budget, regular budget in anyone's budget to say, okay, this is what's allotted for the construction of school bus stops. And of course, so there was a roundtable a few weeks ago where it's about working with the business community. And then also not just for construction of bus stops, but also to maintain bus stops. It's a community effort. It's not just one agency or one organization's responsibility. One of my recommendations.
I beg to differ. Yeah. I think we're paying a whole lot in taxes. The government's costing the people a whole lot of money, and I think we have expectations that the mayor's first line or DPW second line of the Department of Education, those people are responsible for seeing to all of those different bus shelters. We've got our own messes that we clean up from time to time, and it would be nice to know that the government is working for us in those cases. I agree. There are things that we can say, well, it's a community effort, but in this case, no. You guys put the bus shelters there for the kids that ride the bus down these dangerous streets. So we expect the police, the mayors, and DPW to be doing their work.
Oh, well, Ray, if my child is a user of the bus stop, I, as a parent, with my child, with the community, my neighbors, if our children, it should be our responsibility as users of the bus stop too. We can't as a community keep pointing fingers. As a user, we should also maintain. So yes, I understand it should be a community effort, but it doesn't mean that we're going to be blinded. We have a lot of adoption process with the Beautification Task Force, where organizations, as a matter of fact, just recently a youth group came and said, you know what, we're interested in adopting. And I always ask, well, where do you live or where do you work? We like organizations to adopt bus stops in their areas where they live. That way, when they pass it, they can see it. And I'm pretty sure that and it was true. The organization is adopting 3 bus stops, and 10 of those families that are part of the organization live in that particular area.
Yeah, everything is different. In MTM, I've been bragging about my bus shelters because they look good. The difference in the size between MTM and Dededo, obviously, notwithstanding, but I'm proud of the way that my mayor takes care of the bus shelters and sees to it that they're clean, and there's trash receptacles there, so they never get trashed. Online, a question from or a comment from Richard Leon. You had mentioned that you noticed a speedster outside outside a school gate, and you indicated for the driver to slow down. You're a peace officer. You could have generated some kind of a citation and sent him to go see somebody at court.
Yeah, but as you're speeding, the citations that we give out are not traffic citations because I can't gauge how fast they're going. Let me share with you. Yesterday, my staff was out for 2 days painting a crosswalk near Benavente Middle School, and they had cones out. The hazard, we had a beacon light, wearing yellow reflective shirts and vests, and I went out too. And even with the cones out, people were still flying. I was screaming. I was yelling at the car, "Slow down!" It's maybe we should get the police out there, but I know the resources, the limited resources that we have at Dedido Precinct, but there may have been an emergency versus coming out and helping with traffic violation. But yes, the citations that we are restricted. We have limits on that. I can't gauge that somebody was going 45 in a 25-mile-per-hour zone or a 15-mile-per-hour zone. So,
but again, for something else, imprudent driving. That's the catch-all. You're clearly going too fast for this area. It's a school. And the police use that one all the time. If I don't have a radar gun on you, but I can tell you're going faster than a speed limit in a school zone, I'll cite you for imprudent driving, and I'll meet you at court, and you can tell me why I'm wrong.
Okay, well, we can look into that one with
It's just that, like I said, you guys are peace officers and need to be able to take advantage of that special power that is granted you.
Yeah.
Just saying, yo. Hey, listen, it's always fun talking with you. Well, at least for me. I don't know if it was fun for you today, but we'll get around to talking about some liberation stuff down the road.
Okay, thank you, Ray.
Mayor Melissa Savars from Dedido. She's like one of the easier ones to get hold of and the easier ones to understand. So it's not like I'm picking on her or anything, but unbelievable what is going on out there, and just the litany, if you will, of excuses about why things can't get done. Oh, we got to do this, and the DPW guys, and we got no budget for this, and there's the speed bumps, and we have to worry about the ambulances that we've got to worry about them having to slow down in the reaction to places. I've seen the ambulances go over speed humps and speed bumps at the same speed that I go over them at. And as near as I can tell, I've never seen the doors swing open and the bodies fall out of the gurney. I don't think it's happened. If it has, I'd be happy to eat a bug for you, just in case I get that wrong. 888-825-5888-TALK. Lady D, write the plate number down. Have the ticket mailed to them. They won't issue citations because they'll lose votes, says Andre Bainham. I don't disagree with you there. Vanessa Jadikpa online this morning. I see Richard Leone, obviously, says Guam public needs to flex its muscles. Maybe there's another one of these enough things that we can do and just kind of do them out on the streets, but then we'd have our own people. So if you're a political representative, if you're somebody from the legislature, the mayor, mayor's council, police department, whatever, you're not allowed to hold your hand and say enough. You stand there and look at us, with the hands that say enough in front of you. Ron and Cindy De La Rosa there, based on her logic, as users of the road, the public should be out there filling the potholes and striping the roads. That's why I'm hearing more of that. Are you hearing that too, where you got these politicians saying, well, it's a community effort? Bull. We are the community, and for what we are paying for this government, which went up by 20% last year, our expectations are up there a little bit higher. I expect more from this government for what the mayors are getting paid, for what the guy that's running the mayor's council is getting paid. Is it too much to ask that citations be issued for littering? Is it too much to ask for citations to be issued for people flying down the roads in the villages? You got Big Sister Shelley online, and she's not kidding. She's not kidding. There were people that were flying up her section of Golondrina Street not that long ago, and she got tired of it and just started putting appliances in the street. So you had to go around them. You had to slow down and go around them. Roy T. Demion Street, and this will go back to the 70s or so. You might note if you were ever on that road, that there are, as you make the turn, just before you get to the old Manglotnia's New World, just before you get into that part of MTM, just before that, there is a speed hump, and then there is a speed bump. Well, the speed hump was put there by the mayor years ago. The speed bump is a little bit more aggressive, a little bit higher. That's why cars go slow through that area. And that was put there by a resident. It was put there by a resident because little kids growing up in that house, and they're little kids. They don't watch out for cars. They're doing little kid stuff. And so I remember, and before it was a speed bump, before they went out there and actually put concrete down, my recollection is these guys put cinder blocks on the road. Absolutely, it decided that it was beyond time to continue to let the government take care of things, and took matters into their own hands. Is that vigilante thing, right? It's the thing that I say we probably shouldn't do. What? Well, type somebody's name. He's a. Oh, wait, I don't have enough time for him. This is Mayor Jess Gogui from Ordat Salanpago. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, Ray. How are you doing?
You know what? I'm doing okay. I'm just on a rant, kind of a tirade, but I wanted to give you some kudos, you and the villagers of Ordat Salanpago. I've got friends that live back there, and I have really, really been worried about them because of all of the shenanigans that these thugs are doing in your neck of the woods. But I was delighted to hear that about active neighborhood watches, active WhatsApp programs that you've got going on up there that make it so that maybe if you're a thug in this town, Ordat Salanpago is the last place you want to get to.
Well, I mean, consider it, Ray. I mean, I'm sure you see the police blotters, or at least you see the magistrate reports.
Yep.
That get published every single day, at least during the weekdays. And and there's robberies and crimes and thefts on that report almost every single day, from Jigo all the way down to Umatic. And and one person was asking me, why is Ordat Salanpago seem to get a lot of media attention, media coverage regarding the crimes in our village? And I said, well, if you think about it, the reason why we've gotten the attention is they've been caught. These people are being caught. And it's not because of me or any one individual. It's because the community is actually paying attention to any suspicious activity, or we have these neighborhood watch groups that says, hey, something's going on. And, and we're not waiting around for GPD to arrive to find out what's going on, or, to address these situations. And one time where the guy walked into a house, one of our homes here, and uninvited, we were able to get there and make sure things were safe for the homeowner, and get him out of the house until GPD arrived.
Well, that for a lot of people, that's the most notable thing. Is number one, the lady had the presence of mind to communicate through the WhatsApp group, and she was on an active WhatsApp group, and citizens on patrol were there before the police were, and assisted in the apprehension of this thug.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, we can't solely depend on GPD to get things done on this island, because, I mean, we've got 170,000 residents living on this island with roughly about 300 officers, doing a variety of things from the chief on down, and it's the ratio is just overwhelming for them. And so if we aren't active and taking care of our neighborhood, who else is going to do it for us? I mean, GPD will eventually show up, but we don't want it to occur when it's too late, And so, and then the most recent one in Ordat, where there was a robbery. I mean, the two got caught because of the information that was gathered, and then disseminating it through all of our WhatsApp groups. I have a village broadcast that goes out to over 400 residents, and when I communicate things, I communicate, of course, with adults in the village, and then when they share it, but eventually the first guy was caught within the day, and then the second guy was caught, through a tip, through these, to GPD, saying, hey, we saw this, that he's wanted, and we know where he's at, and so they found him.
Well, my guess is that neither one of those jugheads was a stranger to the police or even the people in Ordat Salanpago. It's probably guys that, oh yeah, we've seen them before. They're nothing but trouble. They're just trash. So take it out.
Yeah, the second group was, but that one guy I've never seen before. No.
Yeah.
Nobody else in the neighborhood had seen him. So, how he ended up in this village was basically was walking, and he went into one of the roads and went into a house and said, well, I need a rest and get a drink.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if you heard about my story or follow me on Facebook, but the same MO that the Tysigan and what's his name used on the old lady. Some guy walks up to my door at 9:30 at night asking for Jenny. Is Jenny here? And I thought, I'm getting set up. So I told him there's no Jenny here, but there's a gun. It's pointing at you through the door, and he vamoosed.
Yeah.
And I think there's more and more people need to do that. People like James saying that maybe we ought to deputize citizens and have village patrols. Brad says give those guys some red berets, vests, and billy clubs, cleaning up the village one thug at a time. Can people outside of Ordot, Pago get on your mailing list?
Well, I mean, they could, quite honestly, they could. I just try to, in fact, the neighborhood watch groups, and that's why they call them neighborhood watch groups. I try not to, I make every effort with all of the groups to say, hey, keep it to a reasonable number. Once you get into a group that has like 40, 50 people, it can be somewhat.
Yeah, it gets cumbersome, and you start ignoring ignoring posts. Hey, Mayor, unfortunately, I got news coming up. I'd love to spend more time talking with you. Maybe we'll talk about things that are happening in your village that we might be able to convince other mayors to be doing in theirs. But otherwise, you have a great morning. All right.
Well, I think the other mayors are doing it. They're doing a good job.
7 o'clock, time for the Fox News. I'll see you pretty soon, Mayor Gogui.
Okay, take care. Thank you.
Former White House counsel Don McGahn is being directed by President Trump not to answer a congressional subpoena to testify about the Mueller report. The White House citing a legal opinion from the in-house counsel for the executive branch at the Justice Department.
What the OLC memo states is that there is an executive branch protection in this case, that someone like Don McGahn is like an extension of the president himself and would not be required to comply with that subpoena. And it reads in part, we provide the same answer that the Department of Justice has repeatedly provided for nearly 5 decades. Congress may not constitutionally compel the president's senior advisors to testify about their official duties.
Fox's Catherine Herridge in Washington. The House Judiciary Committee wanted McGahn to testify by tomorrow. Otherwise, the chairman, New York Democrat Jerry Nadler, has threatened to hold him in contempt. Meantime, there's late word that a judge has ruled against the president in a fight with Congress over financial records. The president holds a rally tonight in Pennsylvania. A migrant teenager detained in Texas since last week is found dead at a Border Patrol station. Fox's Gernal Scott has this live.
Lisa, Customs and Border Protection has identified the boy as Carlos Gregorio Hernandez Vasquez. His cause of death not known, but officials say he reported feeling sick Sunday and was diagnosed with the flu. He was found unresponsive during that welfare check today. The 16-year-old had been in custody for 6 days, which is longer than federal guidelines say he should be out of Health and Human Services care. This is the 5th death of a migrant child in federal custody since December. Border Patrol officials say Congress has been notified and an independent investigation is underway, Lisa.
Thanks, Gernal. A down day on Wall Street. The Dow dropped 84 points. This is Fox News.
We know too well the inconvenience of not having power after a storm. You worry about food in the freezer going bad. Nights get hot. It's hard finding comfort when going to sleep. These are realities. But with solar and battery storage from Micronesia Renewable Energy, these realities can be a thing of the past. The solar works during the day and the batteries power your home at night. Call 632-2613 to see how solar plus battery storage can make life a little more convenient. MRE, the smarter choice. Let's go for a drive.
Let's take a stroll. Let's gallivant. Let's go cruising.
We all have different ways to describe how we get up and go in our cars. But whatever you may call it, you can do more of it when you save 6% off your fuel purchases at any Shell station when you use your eligible Bank of Guam Visa and MasterCard credit cards. So stop by any Guam or CNMI Shell station and start saving today. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
A threat of more severe weather in the central U.S. Some areas still recovering from weekend tornadoes. Now parts of Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska bracing for a stormy night. Ohio's governor orders a review of how the state medical board handled complaints against an Ohio State team doctor after the release of a report on decades of sexual abuse.
The report shows that former Ohio State University team doctor Richard Strauss sexually abused at least 177 male students between 1979 and 1997.
Richard Strauss is dead, obviously cannot face justice.
Governor Mike DeWine calling for the end of the statute of limitations for sex crimes and signing an executive order to investigate the state's role.
The public has a right to know exactly what went on with the state medical board.
As investigators found, Ohio State officials at the time were aware but did nothing to stop it. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
A police officer killed in the line of duty last night, being remembered today in Alabama.
We're sorry. And we thank you for giving your life on behalf of all of us to protect us all.
The mayor of Auburn, Ron Anders, speaking as a capital murder charge was announced against the suspect, 29-year-old Grady Wayne Wilkes, captured earlier today, also accused of wounding two other officers who were responding to reports of a domestic disturbance. Police describing Wilkes as a former member of the military who was working in the area. Chicago's new mayor, Lori Lightfoot, is on the job.
I'm looking ahead to a city of safe streets and strong schools for every child, regardless of neighborhood or zip code.
Vowing to crack down on violence, among other things, as she was sworn in today, an historic inauguration. Lightfoot is the first black woman and first openly gay person to serve as Chicago mayor. Elisa Brady, this is Fox News.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
Hey, it's Mom. Somebody forgot to thaw the chicken, so meet us at Chili's for 2 for $25. Oh, and congratulate your sister for making the basketball team. She's thrilled. Love you. See you at Chili's.
Enjoy 2 full meal combos for $25. An appetizer, 2 mouth-watering entrees like our crispy chicken breast, smoked barbecue quarter leg, or smoked jalapeno cheddar sausage. Served with corn on the cob and french fries. 2 bold combos for $25. A full-on meal deal available nightly for a limited time. Together, we Chili's.
Legends aren't born, they are made. And during our Jeep Celebration event at Cars Plus and Mighty, you'll receive up to $6,000 in accessories for the purchase of a new Jeep Wrangler, Motor Trend SUV of the Year. Customize your new Jeep to the way you want it. Or how about a new Jeep Grand Cherokee? Save up to $5,000. Or save up to $7,500 on a new Jeep Compass Sport. It's our Jeep Celebration event going on now at Cars Plus and Mighty. Cars Plus, driven by you. Accessory special cannot be combined with other offers. See dealer for details.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 7 a.m. this Tuesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The bids from vendors seeking to operate one of the gambling games of chance at this year's Liberation Carnival were open Friday evening at the Mayor's Council of Guam office in Agana. If the winning bidders get cleared by the Department of Rev and Tax, Mayor's Council Executive Director Angel Sablan estimates a little bit over $400,000 will have been raised. The money is not in the bank yet, however. Rev and Tax Director Daphne Shimizu said that the bidders must get business license and tax clearances first. Neither Shimizu nor Sablan would release the names of the winning bidders until those clearances have been granted. There were not enough bids to fill all of the available slots, and Sablan said another round of bidding may be held. Only one bid qualified for the 2 House of Cards slots available, and no one bid on the 2 slots available for the Beto Beto game. The decision on whether another round of bidding will be held will be made tomorrow at the Liberation Carnival Committee meeting. Sex offenders on parole will be required to report weekly rather than monthly starting in June. Michael Kinata, the chief parole officer for the Department of Corrections, said the change will take place as a result of what has been going on in the last few months. Canada announced the change during a legislative status update hearing yesterday on the sex offender registry. Senator Therese Terlahi, who chairs the Justice Committee, called the hearing yesterday in the wake of the April arrest of Paul Santos Mofnis Jr. Mofnis was arrested on charges of kidnapping and sexually assaulting a 10-year-old girl after he was released on parole in 2014 following 18 years in jail on a criminal sexual conduct conviction involving underage girls. The sex offender registry is maintained by the Judiciary of Guam. It allows residents to search for convicted sex offenders by name and find out where they live and what they look like. There are 883 convicted sex offenders on the Guam Registry website. That can be found at www.guamcourts.com. During yesterday's hearing, Senator Terlahi said, in order for our community to be safe against repeat offenders, we want to know who they are, where they are, and what they look like. More news after this.
Hi, welcome to this Subway ad for the new Sweet and Smoky Steak and Guac Signature Wrap. How would you like it? I'll take my ex-girlfriend, just checking in. Aw.
Hey, David, it's me, just checking in. I'm doing great. Just got the new Sweet and Smoky Steak and Guac Signature Wrap from Subway. Creamy guacamole, smoky sweet Wajillo mesquite sauce, and double the tender steak. They just know what I want before I do. So, yeah, things are going pretty great for me. Subway, make it what you want. Limited time only at participating restaurants. Double meat based on average 6-inch sub. Okay, bye.
If you've ever struggled for breath, you know what a scary experience it is. Whether you have asthma, emphysema, COPD, lung cancer, or another respiratory illness, the right medical treatment makes all the difference. GRMC's Pulmonology Clinic has the latest technology and respiratory equipment, staffed by world-class pulmonologists. Make an appointment today with GRMC's Pulmonology Clinic and start breathing easier. GRMC, where patients are partners.
10 minutes past 7 a.m. here at The Point. A taxpayer-funded private health insurance plan that covers children in foster care on island expires at the end of this month when the money runs out. However, Public Health Administrator Tess Archangel telling the Guam Daily Post they're not going to run out of insurance because they already have CHIP. CHIP stands for the Children's Health Insurance Program, which is a federally funded program and covers 91.5% of the cost of insuring children in foster care on island. It also has a local match to make up for the 8.5% difference, which is also fully funded and will not run out, said Archangel. However, the $500,000 appropriated for the private health plan for foster kids will run out on May 31st. That plan is provided by Calvo's Select Care. Archangel said she doesn't know why they appropriated that funding for that private plan. When contacted for comment, Select Care Plan Administrator Frank Campillo told the Post, "We offered the insurance per GovGuam's request, but we have no quarrels on the views of public health." Senator Amanda Shelton has introduced a measure that would expand the prohibitions against tobacco smoking in public places to include a ban on the smoke generated by vaping. Bill 138-35 would amend the Natasha Protection Act of 2005 to include banning the use of vaping devices in the same places that smoking cigarettes are currently prohibited under the law. Electronic smoking devices were not around when the Natasha Protection Act was first passed in 2005, said Shelton. And she said that the law must keep pace with the advent of new technology. There are currently no laws on Guam to prohibit the use of the electronic smoking devices. All other senators in the Guam legislature have already signed on as co-sponsors of Senator Shelton's bill. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with a look at the weather.
It looks like things might be changing, at least for today. Partly sunny with isolated showers, maybe some thunderstorms today. Southwest winds up to about 15 miles an hour. Daytime highs still hot, 89 degrees. Overnight lows at 79 or so. The sun sets tonight at 6:41. Up a little bit early tomorrow, about 5:53, according to the forecast. Delivered to me this morning by Michael Knight, who will now take a look at the weather radar and interpret his interpretation of the weather radar at this time now.
Yeah, I'm the interpretator. I'm a great fisherman.
That's a line from Game of Thrones. It's real. He's the hand of the king. Weathermaster. There, that's what it is.
That's what.
I knew I'd get something.
Checking radar real quick here. Got a few isolated showers rolling through. They're coming up from the southwest in the southwesterly flow. It's a slow flow and it's a moist flow. So if you get out and about today, prepare for it to be a little bit warm.
Slow and moist flow. Kind of reminds me of a couple of girls. Never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's thank you. So this was stuff up to the northwest, though. It's teasing me unmercifully, because I really wish it would come on through, but it's just not going to do it. This system, it's causing that. We'll see that on satellite here in just a second. It's actually a kind of a cold front, but it's not really a cold front because there's no cold air support behind it, but there is drier air behind it. So it kind of classifies as a front or a shear line. It's not going to get here. It's going to go ahead and track on off to the northeast. The storm system responsible for that is a low-pressure system that's along a cold front that is actually way up there around the 20-degree north latitude. That's awful far to the north of us. And it won't be close enough to really bring those showers on through. So this arm will swing on by. Looks like maybe Saipan and Tinian Saipan, they might get some beneficial rains. I think for us in Rota, though, we're just going to get more of what we see right now. Just hit and miss stuff.
They can't see anything right now. For some reason, I've noticed that this morning. The satellite server is moving slow. I mean, this is like CompuServe speed. This is America Online speed.
I could have drawn the picture faster than that.
Right. It might pop up here in just a second. And now let me just scooch it down to a point where the Marianas is roughly in the center of it.
There we go.
And you can see the blobbage coming down to about where we are.
Yeah, and if you look just to the north of us, due north of us, there is a spin in the clouds up there by that cold front. That's a low-pressure area that's been forming up there for the past 24 hours. It's going to jet off to the northeast and take this shear line, this bit of unstable weather, along with it. And it probably isn't going to make it down here. I really hope it does, though. There's a chance that a little northward surge of energy could go ahead and push those showers on down. The Weather Service can't really rule that out. But right now, it looks like that what we're getting is about all we're going to get.
All right. So we got the slow flow there, the moist flow. Is there a cold flow?
There's no cold flow. No, it's a very
warm flows.
It's a very warm flow.
Yes. So there are warm flows, though. Yes. Okay, gotcha. Are there warm, moist flows?
There's a very warm, moist flow.
It's 7:50 in the morning. Try not to read anything. Folks, it's just the weather. That's news and weather together here on The Point.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo, 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
So you have the hand of the king, and then we start handing out assignments on who's going to be the construction master of weather. So are you weather master? Brad says weatherhead might be good for you. Pam Duvall says Michael Knight, master of the skies.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah, because just wonderful. So we're just working through some Game of Thrones titling that we might be able to do here. Although still, and I've got it in my notes, I'm still looking for an opportunity to be named the El Chapo of something. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Because, that got you a lot of reputation. Kevin Carey and the El Chapo of news. Michael Knight, the El Chapo of weather.
Yeah.
We could do something along those lines. Anyway, 7:16, portions of the Ray Gibson Show, at least the fun parts, I think, are brought to you by these guys. APL, they're shipping the future. Micronesia Renewable Energy has now got batteries that go along with your solar system. So you want to go off-grid, you might be able to do that. You got no choice because the power went out all by itself. Your lights will be on. Ask them for details on that. And the guys over at Cars Plus, Joey, Jen, and Dunge, in a celebratory mood, because they're interpreting the needs of the customers on a significant basis, and so they have interpreted that you like Jeep Wrangler. So if you go and buy a Jeep Wrangler today over at Cars Plus, it could get you about $6,000 worth of cool parts and accessories to make it totally your own.
It's the Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Nice. Brad says, I can be the El Chapo of skinny jeans. I'm wearing a pair now. Ken LG, Imperial Weather Guesser there. Nice. Richard Leon still raging against the machine. Break the wheel. This is the wheel we need to break. All right, Game of Thrones reference, but I'm not going to explain it. Skid marks indicate car testing numerous times in a night. What happens if the vehicle loses control with property damage, injury, or death? And the mayors never, ever get around to investigating that.
Skid marks can also mean you need more fiber in your diet.
Vivian Castro-Leon's online. I got Eunice Mendiola. Parting gift from the Calvo Tenorio administration to the Select Care. Wonder what the loss ratio and profits were on that contract. Talking about this money for foster kids. Big Sister Shelley, we need to be more hyper-vigilant about safe driving. That's my interpretation of what she's saying. Lynn Vince, Borja Polino, says, sadly, in my neighborhood, there are little tiny kids playing on the side of the road and on sidewalks unsupervised, pushing their little toy rides along. I cringe every time. I've rolled my windows down and asked them, where is your mom? They don't even speak yet. Get that completely. Rebecca Elmore is there. Joe Dizon is playing around this morning. I've got Casper and Connie Fergerger Dudkowitz. Francis Solis is hanging out with us online this morning. I got a bunch of other names there that came in towards the news time. Alex Nicasio Ridge, Chris Abalencia, Marvin Ikesaki. Everybody knows him. Jared Baldwin, Richard Leon. Okay, some of these other names that we've already read at least once or twice before. Great to have you online this morning. Hit the share button and bring in a whole nother crowd of listeners, if you don't mind.
I see another great suggestion there.
What's that?
Duke Sky Talker.
Elwin, good job. Duke Sky Talker.
I'm Duke Sky Talker.
That's almost tattoo worthy.
It really is.
You know, some of these things. I mean, that's how you know somebody's got it right when you look at that and go, I'm totally gonna. Where's Harv Angel? I'm gonna go low tide, and I'm gonna have that be tattooed on my arm somewhere. I'm Duke Sky.
Man, I'll put that right in the middle of my back.
Right with he's got one in the back. It's supposed to look like an eagle, but it looks more like a pigeon. You get what you pay for. 7:19 in the morning. It's one of those prison tattoos, right? 7:19 in the morning, and can I start?
It only cost me 2 soups, bro. You can't complain.
Let's see what happened on the markets. The lady on Fox News said that they closed down, and she was right. S&P 500 at 2840, lost 19 points. NASDAQ drifted down 113 points to close at 7,072. Dow Jones Industrial Average at 25,679, off by 84 points or so. FTSE's going to open in the red. Nikkei is opening up in the green, but it's not big green. It's only 21,301. Hang Seng red by 158 points. Shanghai off by 11 points. And take a look at, you know, I can give you a market that's up, but you won't like it. You'll hate it. You'll go, oh, you suck, Gibson. I hate you. What's Patty doing? Right? So here's the number. $76. You just get that? Did you just get that? You got to listen faster than that, Mr. Producer Man. Here's the $76.28 for a barrel of Tapis crude. That number, and I didn't get a chance to look at it yesterday, and that's too bad because maybe it would have softened the blow if we'd have seen a little bit of a lower number yesterday. But $74.53 is where it was on Friday. $74.53 today. $76.28. Tapis crude is up by $1.75.
It won't matter.
Nothing. No. You know why? Because the government's going to bail us out, and they're going to give me a mass transit system that is usable, reliable, clean, and friendly, and efficient. So, you know what? Just throw the keys to the car away. Just leave it in the driveway. You don't need it anymore.
And why is
Bus
this?
will come and get you.
Because you are the the El Chapo of talk.
Total fantasy. It is a total and complete fantasy. You know, it's right up there with your wife leaning in saying, "No, it's all right. Go ahead." Right? So I'm just saying, it's all right. We need to have these fantasies every once in a while. I'm sorry. I'm railing because yesterday somebody had typed in, Tammy had typed in that the guy that was running mass transit apparently got a raise in executive session. And we're looking to see if I can get some kind of independent verification of that. And if they did, I don't know on what planet they think anybody there is doing a good enough job to get any kind of increase. But if we don't pay him more, he'll quit. Really? Do you promise? Where was I? 7:21 in the morning. How you doing there?
I'm good.
I'm frisky.
I could kind of tell.
Frisky. Well, last night was...
You're the El Chapo of friskiness.
Last of the Game of Thrones last night. We don't really talk about it because there's a lot of people that haven't seen the thing.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen it?
Ever, never.
What else are you missing out on? What else is painting you as...
Hang on a second. I've made a list.
Lifeless,
it's long,
colorless.
very long.
Did Star Wars? You've seen the Star Wars movies, right?
I thought Star Wars.
When was the last? What was the last one that you saw? Do you remember?
Star Wars?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Do you remember what movie theater? If you tell me the last one you saw was like at the Hoffa-Day Theater, then I know you've kind of given up on the franchise.
Hoffa-Day 1.
Hoffa 1, right?
Hoffa-Day 1.
Upstairs in the balcony if you were a big
that's
shot.
That's where I was. Yes.
Oh. Let me just, I'm going to sit in a warm bath of nostalgia here for just a second, thinking about the Hoffa-Day 1 theater.
Yeah.
And being able to go up there with a hot dog and a cup of chili. Do you remember being able to get chili in a movie theater?
I think so, yeah.
Ah, that was something else. You run out of cigarettes, it's okay. They got a cigarette machine downstairs.
But Hoffa-Day, was it, no, Cinema Theater was actually the better one.
I liked the cinema.
Did you like cinema? Because
Yeah.
nobody was ever in the cinema theater. You could go for like this is really going back. You could go in the afternoon matinees, and you could be there, which is great for a morning disc jockey. And you would go watch, because you can go watch the movie, then go home and sleep. So in the cinema theater, can I digress for a second?
Yeah,
Do
we're
you
both
mind?
sitting in the same warm bath. It's
Okay.
nice.
So if anybody ever went
Stay
to
on your side of the warm bath of nostalgia.
Anybody ever went to the cinema theater? I'm sitting in a cinema theater. I forget what I'm watching one day, and hear this scratching sound. Scratching, scratching, scratching. And it's coming from somewhere in front of me. I have no idea what it is, but I'm hearing it. And I'm in the back row, and the cinema theater had an area, the entrance area had curtains, if you recall. Yeah. And there was a curtain that led you out, and there was a secondary curtain in back that led to the concession area. And it was lit
a curtain
inside.
so that when you open the doors, the light wouldn't pour into the theater.
Exactly. That was the purpose of the second curtain. So, and that was lit in there, so you could kind of see the light kind of went down softly onto the carpeting as it led down to the seats, all the way down the aisle of the row. So I hear the scratching sound. I'm watching the movie. Keep hearing the scratching sound. It's getting louder and louder and louder. So I'm watching, and I'm trying to just tune it out. And all of a sudden, into the light that is being shown through the curtain onto the carpet comes a rat the size of a Shetland pony. And the rat is dragging a popcorn box in his teeth, and that's what's making the scratching sound. I look down at the rat like this, and the rat looks up at me like, so?
Do something.
And he keeps dragging that box past me, like he don't care about me sitting there, because this rat's got experience here. He's been around people. And he just keeps dragging it, and he keeps all through the light and into the concession area, and I wasn't going to follow and figure it out at that point.
What a place.
It was amazing.
What a time. And you're right, you put up with it, because it's not like we had a whole lot of options laying around. And still, one of the best things, here's one last thing before we get into the extra point, about the movie experience on Guam right up until the 80s was you could go on a Friday night and catch two movies. Remember, it was the double features.
Absolutely.
You could go out there and and it didn't make any difference whether, you always had one decent movie and one that was whatever, but you got two movies. So you could go in there and it was a great date night, because you could take, literally hours. You go in there at 6 o'clock at night, and you get yourself some popcorn and dinner in the first movie, and you're watching that. Then you've got, 10 or 15-minute intermission while they change the reels, and then you go into the second movie, and then you go and get more popcorn and chili and hot dogs on the side. And then after that, you go out and either find a club to go play in or go eat again somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hit Kings after the double features, and I don't remember a double feature costing any more than a single movie did. When they finally dropped that practice.
Yeah.
But that was a great way to do a Friday or Saturday night in this town. Hope that's a good memory for you.
Can I give you another really fast one?
Sure.
Do you remember Uncle Leo Slutnik?
Yes. Yeah.
He allowed me to go up, and he had.
Do he ever let you in his office and look at his model airplanes in there?
I got in the office, but let me tell you what he also let me do. In the upstairs area there, he had movie posters that went back forever. And he says to me one day, go ahead back there. We just stockpile. Go ahead, take all you want.
Oh, gee.
I went back and selected, and they got lost, over the years. But I went back and was able to pick up some of these movie posters for 10, 20, 30-year-old movies. at that point. He just said, take them. They're just gathering dust. And there were some amazing things there. Yeah, there was no eBay at the time. If there had been eBay,
so you got something, you would have gotten it for you.
Yeah, some of those would
something.
probably worth a pretty penny.
Probably
right now.
so.
Yeah.
But what I wanted them for, because they were incredible. The movie posters of yesteryear were incredible pieces of artwork.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking for frames to put these things up with. I wasn't thinking of selling
Well,
them.
then you go see Bill Hagen over at Gibson's, right? That was where you got all that stuff taken care of.
Incredible stuff.
Yeah, but if it was me, if there was a movie poster, I'd like to get a copy of the Noon Sunday movie poster. Noon Sunday was a film that was shot here on Guam, paid for with GITA funds. Gordon Mayu, big part of it, and in fact
Jeffrey was the. And he was a big star at the time.
John Forbes from Father Duenas was in the show, and a bunch of local families, including the one from the zoo down at the Cushing Zoo. The Cushing family was a big part of the movie. Right. Anyway, crazy stuff. 7:20 in the morning. We got time for extra point? Yeah, no, it might be a good time to get it in there. Brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes.
It's a word that we've all had to deal with that carries with it pain, uncertainty, embarrassment, and other depression, and often depression. I'm Jerry Robertson. Let's talk about rejection and the cure for it today on The Extra Point.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
Travel the world and then some with the 2 million United Miles sweepstakes from First Hawaiian Bank. Enter and you could win the grand prize of 1 million miles or be one of 6 other lucky winners. The world is big. Our prize is bigger. Enter at fhb.com/2 million miles. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Sweepstake starts on May 1st and ends June 30th, 2019. Open to legal residents of Guam and CNMI. Ages 18 years or older. Visit 2millionmiles.com for official rules. First Hawaiian Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
There are a lot of different kinds of rejection, and we've all suffered one or another at various times. When we were kids and nobody chose us to be on their team, that's rejection. We got a little older and asked someone out for a date, and they said no. That's rejection. When all of our friends are invited to a party, but we're not, that's rejection. We have the grades to get into a good college, but the letter in the mail ends that dream. We apply to work at great companies, and all of the interviews seem to go so well. But one by one, the answer is they chose somebody else. When we get a job and we're excited, so we start giving our boss all of our ideas, and we know that he or she will love them and just be as excited as we are, but they're not. Wait, none of them? But I worked so hard. Everything was just dismissed, and it was crushing. We start a business, and that's really exciting, but our family isn't excited and don't want to be involved. Bankers refuse to loan us any money for it. When we struggle and get going, we take the idea on the street, but nobody wants to buy what we're offering. Rejection is everywhere, and it's personal. The words, "it's not personal, it's only business," are a joke. It's my business, it's my career, it's my life. Every bit of it is personal. None of us escape rejection. We may dance around it most of the time, but eventually the music stops, and there it is, once again, in our face, telling us that we're not enough. Not tall enough, not slim enough, not rich enough, not smart enough. Not enough. We teach kids math, science, language arts, and it's proven that most of what we learn in school is forgotten in adulthood. But we don't teach what we now call emotional intelligence, people skills, which is exactly what all of us need for the rest of our lives. Nobody taught us how to handle conflict and to cope with rejection, so we don't do it very well. Most people who lose a job do so over attitude and not getting along with others. Skills were probably not the issue. How many more teenagers will make the worst decision of all because of a broken relationship? How many more families will shatter and careers will end because the only coping they have comes through substance abuse? Rejection is tough. I've had my share, and early on I didn't know how to deal with it either. That changed when I read the stories of people who saw rejection as actually being an opportunity in disguise, and they took action to move on from it. I decided the answer for rejection is a 4-letter word: next. N-E-X-T. You don't want to go out with me? Okay, next. There's somebody else who will like me for who I am. You don't want to hire me? Okay, next. There's somebody else who will, and I'll bust my tail to help them be successful. You don't appreciate my hard work and ideas? Fine. Next. I'll find a new employer who will see me for the value I bring. When rejection shows up at your door, and it will, tell it straight up. Next. Get out of my face. I'm busy. Then teach your kids to do the same. That's the extra point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3, The Ray Gibson Show, Guam Insurance Services, and First Hawaiian Bank, I'm Jerry Roberts.
Next.
Next.
Time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan. What? I surprised the producer.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, a former Guam customs officer has asked for a reduced sentence of just 1 year and 1 day for cooperating with federal authorities over the last 4 years in the prosecution of Juanita Mosier and Raymond Martinez. In his appeal for a reduced sentence filed with the court, former Customs Lieutenant Henry Alvandia maintains he earned a reduced sentence by helping authorities bring down two of Guam's biggest drug dealers. Alvandia contends he should be granted additional leniency, citing the continued risk that he'll face for the rest of his life because of his cooperation with prosecutors. Alvandia has pleaded guilty to accepting more than $30,000 in bribes and kickbacks. He faces a maximum sentence of 60 months behind bars, but the federal government is recommending a sentence of between 18 and 24 months. Sentencing for Alvandia is scheduled for this Thursday. A U.S. citizen wanted in the state of Minnesota on allegations of distributing child pornography has been deported from the Philippines here to Guam, where he remains in custody pending an identity hearing on Friday. 40-year-old Gary James Dokulil was detained by Philippine authorities in Angeles City on February 22nd after a warrant was issued for his arrest by a U.S. District Court in Minnesota. The FBI has accused Dokulil of distributing child pornography to an undercover law enforcement officer utilizing a file-sharing network. Dokulil was deported here to Guam and will be subsequently sent back to Minnesota to face those charges against him following Friday's identity hearing. Guam police are asking for the public's help in finding the two thieves who robbed the Champion sporting goods store in Manilao yesterday morning. Surveillance video shows the men stealing pellet guns, knives, and other merchandise. The robbers are believed to have gotten into the store through a crawl space in the wall. Both men had their faces covered with cloth. One of them was wearing a white long-sleeve shirt with light-colored pants. The other wearing a white sleeveless shirt with light-colored pants. Anyone with information about the crime asked to call the Guam Police Dispatch Line at 472-8911 or call Guam Crime Stoppers at 477-HELP. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
7:35, and I'll explain that awkward moment between Jerry Roberts and the headlines. It's that when I think Jerry hits a home run with the extra point, sometimes I feel like if I try to add something to it, I actually take away from the value of what he said, and that's why I wanted to go directly from there. Next, into headlines, because I thought that would be the appropriate way to do it. Unfortunately, I surprised my producer, and so there was that there's a lull in the action, if you will. What have I got? 7:36, yes. And time now, we'll call that iConnect time. I'm going to tell you about traffic here in just a second. So swing by the nearest iConnect. They got them in the malls. They got one right behind the radio station here. And ask them about incredible plans that could save you some money. I mean, there's a lot of plans that they say, you need this kind of bandwidth to be able to communicate with the universe. And you're going, dude, I just need to WhatsApp Mike. What do I need all that bandwidth for? They will hook you up with some great plans at iConnect.
The Crazy 19 menu at King's Restaurants is back with all your breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites. Fun pancakes, tasty sandwiches, and the local dishes you crave for a limited time on the Crazy 19 menu at King's.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Mark Beneventi of Santa Rita, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voice of our community and sharing thoughts and issues that affect us all. It all boils down to our people, our land. Protei Igumamo. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Yes. Traffic right now. Traffic here on the point. I'm taking a look at the traffic gizmo. Most of the routes are running pretty clear between one place and another. We've got intersections, so some of those will slow you down just to build in a little extra time for those delays. Getting into Sumai might be a little bit tricky this morning, as it usually is around this time. Not sure why, but I've got traffic slowing down southbound Marine Corps Drive. I think there's a lot of people that are trying to turn into Agana onto Route 8, and likewise, there's also people on Route 8 that are trying to head northbound on Marine Corps Drive, so expect some delays around Pokey Fry and the venue area. No, I'm not trying to give you all the locations in relations to bars. Please don't notice that, and if you do, don't judge. One other thing here, there is a lot of ruddy traffic coming out of Route 3 onto Route 1, so expect outbound traffic to delay. No other way to describe it except, most of the time I got red and green and yellow on the traffic gizmo. That area right now is black and blue, if that makes any kind of sense. Yeah, so watch out for traffic trying to get out of Route 3. 7:38 in the morning. That's right now traffic on the point.
The sky's the limit with Bank Pacific's secure MyCloud banking. You can access your account 24/7 with your smartphone, your computer, your iPad, or any other tablet. You can pay bills, set up alerts, check your balances, wire transfer money. It's never been easier. Enroll online or come on in and see one of our friendly staff. Digital Life, Digital Solutions. Bank Pacific.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Viva Bank Pacific.
Back in the action. Is that what's going on here? Groovy. It's 20 away from 8 o'clock in the morning. My name is Ray. 888-8255-8888-TALK is the telephone number here at this radio station. Love to hear from you. Love to hear what is on your mind, what you're thinking about. 988-5874 if you've got visuals. If you got a visual. And this just in from my friend Ryan. The Blue Ridge. Do you know what's the Blue Ridge? Some kind of military.
It's out there, and they're inviting the media to come out and visit.
Really?
Yeah.
Like the legitimate media, because I didn't get an invitation. Nobody's asking. What is the Blue Ridge? What kind of animal is that?
I don't know what kind of a naval ship it is, but it's one of the best.
Big enough, right? Apparently, the Blue Ridge is here. So I said, my friend says it's an LCC. Yeah, like I know what that is. Like I know what an LCC is.
Yeah, it's an amphibious command ship. It's actually of its own class. It is the one of its own class. It is a fairly large vessel, but it's not, it's not like battleship big or, aircraft carrier big.
So we can go on a tour?
It's got
There's tours? Will there be cookies? Will there be beer? Let me know how that works out. Let me know, because those kinds of things, I swear to God, the first year was at Father Duenas, it was in ROTC, for no other reason than I knew that it would be a great way. Number one, they give you the free uniform, and number two, I knew it would be a great way to be able to go on tours of a variety of ships, because, if you're in the NJROTC at Father Duenas, there was always a ship coming in and out of town that you could go and spend a Saturday on.
My father was a merchant mariner, so I got a chance as a child to spend time on lots of different types of ships, from oil tankers to container ships to clippers, but they were all merchant ships. I would love just once to do what you did that time and go on an aircraft carrier.
Yeah, aircraft carrier.
So great.
Like I said, noisy and dangerous and all of that. So that's interesting. But the note here is, let me finish reading it. The Blue Ridge is in port. Expect Tumon to be packed even more than it has been in the last couple of weeks. Now, I will suggest that you watch out. It doesn't matter who you are, because I don't know that there's anybody that is being specifically targeted. But apparently, there's a bunch of thugs going around down there testing out their MMA skills on civilians. So be on the lookout for that. Personally, I say gun up. 19 away from the top of the hour. 888-8255. Very close, very dear personal friend. Clint Rigel. That's Senator Clint Rigel on the line. Good morning, Clint.
Hi, good morning, Ray.
Always nice to hear from you. And the reason why we're reaching out is I wanted to, this morning, the title of the Ray Gibson Show on Facebook Live is, Why is my power bill 38% higher? And so if you could, you're going to have an oversight hearing with GPA this week, right?
Yes, on Thursday.
Can you ask them why my power bill specifically? I asked them because they'll get the numbers. Why my power bill is 38% higher. Last month it was $172, and this month it's $238. And I don't think I'm using the air conditioner all that much. I know I'm not using the hot water heater all that much. Michael Knight making excuses for the utility this morning says, "Well, Ray, you're hanging around the house a lot more because you're not outside training for marathons and things like that. And also, it has been hotter these days. So when you do turn the air conditioner on, it's got to work harder." But I'm going 30, almost 40% harder, right?
Right. Yeah. Sure. I mean, there's a lot of different concerns, but yeah. So maybe I could ask specifically, why is Ray Gibson's power bill higher?
See, now this is the kind of responsive government I think we all want. But you do have some other questions unrelated to my use of the utilities that are going to be coming up. The press release that you got says there's an agenda for your reference, and I forgot to print out the agenda. So could you help me out here? What is it? I mean, it's a long one that you guys have got planned too. So 9 to 5 all day long. So what kind of questions you want to ask?
Sure. Have it 9 to 5, just in case we need all that time to get through everything. So a number of things. One, of course, I'm going to ask them first, beginning with, topic that everyone's been discussing lately. It's been in the media, a lot of coverage on, of course, the salary adjustments and the bonuses. Now, this is my oversight hearing is going to be specific to GPA. I only have oversight of the Guam Power Authority. The Guam Waterworks Authority, that's Senator Sabina has oversight of that. So mine's going to be specific to GPA, and I'll start out with asking them about, these salary adjustments and, just the same questions that I think the public have been asking and have wanted to get answers to, which is, why they did the salary adjustments the way they did it, and why do they think the salary adjustments are necessary.
You need to be careful because, what Kevin has been asking those questions of the CCU. The Pacific Daily News also sent out a similar FOIA, and Bob Klitsky has been raging against the machine on this over the last couple of days. It's possible that you may ask the question, and the answer is going to be, well, that's a personnel matter, and we've got to be concerned about the privacy rights of the individuals that are being discussed, so we can't talk about that here at the legislature.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. So, I mean, my goal is just to, see how many answers we can get. Ask them also about, so that maybe a specific individual, that might be something they can't discuss, but maybe they can at least discuss what is the criteria they use in general when giving raises to people.
Well, the point that the former senator and Judge Klitsky, an afternoon host on The Point, made was that there's no such thing as personnel matters that cannot be discussed. If we're talking about people who are compensated with taxpayer or ratepayer money, their salaries, their qualifications, their ability to or inability to do their job are all fair game for compensation. I mean, if we're talking about their sexual preferences or their social security numbers and mother's maiden name, marital relations and all of that, yeah, that's personal in nature, and that's not going to come up. But if we're talking about individuals and their jobs, certainly their salaries should be on the table for discussion.
I agree. I agree 100%. That's one reason why I'm holding this oversight hearing, is to ask these questions, get them on the record in a legislative oversight forum and see how many answers we can gather from them. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, looking forward to that. There are other questions listeners online are asking if you could bring up in your oversight hearing. Ken LG says, ask him about insurance compensation for Cabras 3 and 4.
Oh, yes, that's also on the agenda. That's actually the next item on the agenda is a Cabras explosion update and findings. So basically, we wanted to ask them what's the status of that Cabras, the explosions at the Cabras power plant. What exactly did they get from the insurance company? What were the findings? Things of that nature. Just basically an update, to find. I think these are questions the public have been sort of wondering, whatever happened to that. I know there's a few stories that have been reported on it, but and I've read some of them, but to what extent and how in-depth the stories go and how much they're willing to answer, I think has left a lot of people with more questions. So we're definitely going to ask questions along those lines about the Cabras power plant and an update with that and what exactly happened with it and where are we at with the whole power plant explosion.
Gotcha. I think it could be an interesting afternoon depending on what degree they are willing to talk about things. Of course, the Guam Power Authority is generally under the purview of the Consolidated Commission on Utilities. Will they be or have they been invited to participate as well? I mean, some of the questions that you're talking about with regard to pay raises and illegal bonuses and things like that, those were all conducted at a meeting of the Consolidated Commission on Utilities, not necessarily with under their own powers, GPA and GWA.
Oh yes, absolutely. The CCU is a critical part of this entire oversight process, absolutely, because they are the ones who approved of the raises. They are the ones who basically set the policies for the Guam Power Authority. So they are the decision makers for the Guam Power Authority and everything the Guam Power Authority does. So absolutely, they are part of this hearing.
All right, and then moving forward, perhaps some questions about how they're going to try to eliminate. We're hearing more and more from people on the social media about for no apparent reason, power just kind of trips off in some places, 10 or 15 minutes, and comes back on, and maybe questions about the stability of transmission and distribution.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of questions I'm going to be asking them. I'm going to be asking them for an update on their plans for the new power plant that they're planning on constructing in the Harmon Cliff Line area, the one that they purchased property for. That's supposed to add some capacity to the system. So in the process, I'm going to be asking them to give an overall update on how the capacity of the system, what's causing these things, these power outages. And you're right, we have. In fact, in recent days, the power has been kind of tripping off for, even if it's a short amount of time, 15 minutes or so, it still definitely interrupts a day. And for those who don't have generators, it's a big problem. And for those who do have generators, it's just, it's a reminder of why so many people own generators.
There's a bunch of people out there, I think a growing number of consumers that have decided that now is a good time for them to invest in solar. And so you might want to ask a question about the compensation plan for solar customers of the Guam Power Authority. I think there's certainly people that invested in those systems would like to see themselves get bigger credits or credits that look more like one-to-one as opposed to just we'll forgive you on the fuel charges, but all the other administrative fees and things like that aren't necessarily factoring into what's called the value of solar.
Yeah, absolutely. That's on the agenda, the net metering program. So what's going on right now is that currently net metering customers, which would be someone who's got solar panels on their home that feed back into the system, are currently getting the retail rate.
Yeah.
So what they are proposing, though, is GPA and the CCU have filed with the PUC a request to lower that rate and pay them, like you said, the fuel rate, basically. And so that's going to be a big problem for a lot of people who have invested in solar energy, for them to change this on them. So that's definitely, I'm going to ask a lot of questions surrounding the net metering program and why they think the rate of purchasing power from net metering homeowners should be changed and why it should be lowered, why they should lower the rate and pay people less for solar.
Understood.
That's definitely on the agenda.
See, now I'm trying to find something that's not on the agenda here. I haven't seen the agenda, so I want to find out if there's anything else in there that might be sexy. Simon Sanchez on the other line. Talk with him in a second. He just wants to talk about weather and stuff. But I do want to ask if you've got any questions in there about where we might be able to go on waste to energy. Last week, you and your colleagues voted to pass what I call a $30 million loan for a hole in the ground for the Luzon landfill. Yeah. So and I feel like we were totally held captive on that one, and that's the ransom to get out from under it. So the question I have is, I want that to be the last loan that we ever have to get to basically store trash.
Yeah, I agree. That was a tough one for me to vote for. I passed twice before just ultimately voting yes, because I just felt I didn't really have much of a choice. They're saying, with the court case and everything in the federal receivership, that we have to get this thing so we can open another cell, and we are running out of space, so we definitely need some kind of plan. That's not on the agenda. Waste to energy.
I got one.
I could ask it.
Yes, let's just, what are their plans? I mean, I think there needs to be this conversation, and I know that there's all these things that are in front of it. We got a court case that we got to deal with Wagdy and the guys over at Guam Resource Recovery, GRRP, and then there is existing statute on the books that says that there's no more incineration on Guam ever in the future for the island. And some of these things we need to be able to figure out how to unravel so that we can have a serious conversation with the possibility of being able to take care of our trash in an efficient and better yet, a manner that provides for electricity.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. This is something I've been thinking a lot about lately, because I've been doing, I did a trash cleanup, and so it just really made me think about it a lot. We're an island. We're a small island. We have a finite amount of space. We're going to run out of space for storing trash. We got to figure out what we're going to do. How are we going to dispose of it? And so you look at other islands, and other islands do things like they export the trash out. Some islands have to pay to ship it out of their area and ship it elsewhere. So, what are we going to do? We got to figure out something that's the most cost-effective way of getting rid of the trash, because we can't store trash forever. We're just going to run out of space.
And I don't see the rate of our consumerism and our acquisition of things that eventually turn into trash. I don't see that slowing down at all. Hey, listen, it's always fun talking with you, and a note, just send out a note to all your colleagues to leave their phones outside and all of that stuff, because it's like they sit in there and they look like me at a traffic light. Everybody looking at their phones most of the time.
Oh, during session?
During session, during hearings, things like that. As far as I'm concerned, any communications that take place with a senator while you're actually in session that doesn't have to do with pick up some milk and eggs and the kids after you're done, that ought to be part of the record, part of the legislative record.
That's a good point.
Right? I mean, you had your chance at a public hearing. How many times are you in session where somebody says, "Oh, yeah, I'm watching you, Clint. Ask the witness this, or I think you should vote this way on this measure because otherwise it stinks." As far as I'm concerned, those people are making public contributions, which should have been provided for in some kind of public hearing. And if not, we should find a way to be able to catch all of that and put it in the record.
That's a good point. Yeah, lobbying should definitely be. Yeah, I agree with that. Now, if there's something between you and your staff, that's a little different. If your staff members are chiming in like, "Hey, don't forget to ask this," or "Don't forget," that's I think a little different. But definitely, if someone's lobbying from the outside, which does happen,
Yep. Okay. Listen, if I had more time, I'd ask you about the Cannabis Control Board. They got a meeting coming up towards the end of the month, and I was wanted to see if you're watching the comings and goings and what your thoughts are on this Cannabis Control Board. But like I said, I got Cy on the other line.
No worries. I have been paying attention to it. I've been keeping an eye on it.
Gotcha. Senator Clint Rigel, always nice to hear from you. Your wife, Therese, is watching the show. You want to say good morning to her?
Good morning, hon. Love you.
There we go. All right. I'll be at Moses' Pokey Fry later on. I'll talk to you later. 888-8255. Senator Clint Rigel with me on the program. Former Senator Simon Sanchez just wants to chime in about the weather. Good morning, Si. Is it hot where you are?
Well, there might be a chance of thunderstorms this afternoon at about 4 o'clock when we go to our CCU meeting.
Oh, CCU meeting at 4?
Yeah, we're continuing our meeting from last Thursday. This whole issue of what to release or not to release. We have our outside counsel giving us guidance. We've asked for some written opinions. He had some verbal opinions. We asked for him to put it in writing. There's been some FOIAs. Your station has been very much involved with the coverage of that.
Well, I'll totally take credit for it, but really it's Kevin and Bob.
Yeah, none of us are giving you credit for it.
Oh, okay.
We're giving it to Mr. Klitsky and others. But no, it's all good. And the Post has been covering it. And although I have to say that I did cover for one of your dear friends in other stations one afternoon just recently, and not one call on that issue. So
really?
It's funny how. Well, people are busy living their lives and going to work and thinking about the kids and mad at their boss, happy with their workers, whatever they are. And
it wasn't one of the things they wanted to talk about. So the title of today's Facebook Live, Si, is Why is my power bill 38% higher? It was $172 last month, $239 this month. Now, I haven't done the count on kilowatt hours and things like that. I'm frankly just looking at the sheer numbers right now. I will do the research, the regular stuff that I can see on my bills and find out where the problem lies. I do agree to a point that I think the much warmer weather that we've been having certainly is having an effect on even my high-seer air conditioner struggling through to keep the house cool.
There has been read my lips, listen to my words, there has been no change in the LEAC since last May, 1 year ago. There's been no change in the base rate since 2013, 6 years ago. So there's only two reasons why your power bill this month might be higher than last month. Count the number of days in your billing cycle. Maybe this was a 31, 32-day billing cycle, and the month before was a 29-day billing cycle. And look at your total consumption, because even if you're both over 30 the number of days and plus your average daily rate, because I think you're right, it's the dry season. Might be and dry, and I'm like you, our bill went up a little bit because we're turning on that aircon, even with the fancy Sears and all that, we're just turning them on longer. So we watching this business for 30 years. Christmas is huge because everyone's turning on their Christmas lights. The January, February goes down because it's cooler. Then you see it start to creep up with the temperature in the spring. And then rainy season shows up, which is kind of a mixed bag. You can have a week of rain and nobody uses electricity, and then you can have a week of hot and it goes up and down. So, living in paradise, that's sort of, as we know, that's the way the weather goes. So that's why there's been no change in rate.
But because the cynics are going to say, well, they handed out those raises to everybody over at the Power Authority, but as far as I know, those raises were rescinded.
Well, whether we give them or not, it had no effect on the base rate. The raises are $75,000 out of $150 million, Ray. And I know you're not good at math, but do the math. Whether we give the raise or not, it doesn't change the base rate, because the base rate is, we use for a number of things. Now, Senator Rigel and ourselves will give a nice briefing. I'm glad he's got a good list of things. The LEAC has to be adjusted in August. John Beneventi will be telling us, I imagine he'll be telling the legislature on Thursday, although he generally likes to tell us before he tells them. But We're having a meeting next week. Actually, we're having a meeting Thursday. He will tell us what he thinks the new LEAC should be. It hasn't been adjusted in a year, even though we've seen the price of gas go up. But the price of gas has gone up, and we're going to have to think about that. So it'll be a busy week for the utilities. Today, I imagine we tackle the open government issues, and then we have a session on GWA, what they're doing. And, of course, that rate case and that whole thing is before the public now. We're going out to the community to go to the next 5 years of improvement so we can reduce unaccounted for water, fix the sewer lines, and do the things that the first court order didn't allow us to do, but now we need to do.
I got you. I've only got 30 seconds left to talk, and actually better at math than you think I am. So I'll do some mathematics and work on that. 8 o'clock, Fox News Live is coming up, so we'll watch and see what comes out of the CCU meeting after 4 today.
Great.
All right, buddy. I'll see you pretty soon.
Let me know what you find out with your power bill.
What's that? Oh, yeah. I'll send you copies. I'll send you. Dude, your CCU. You should just be able to look in the computer, right? So, don't you have a dashboard for it on the phone? 8 o'clock, we're KUSG Agana. Here's the news.
I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. A federal judge ruling against President Trump as Congress tries to gain access to his financial records. Fox's Gernal Scott has more live.
Lisa, Judge Amit Mehta ruled late this afternoon that the subpoena for the records being sought by the U.S. House cannot be blocked. The president and his lawyers have been resisting pressure to provide the documents, with a lawsuit filed last month that sought Mazar USA to comply with accountants for the Trump organization from complying with that subpoena. The president's lawyer also sought a stay pending an appeal that was denied. The subpoena was issued by House Oversight Committee Chair Elijah Cummings. The president's lawyers said the action was unconstitutional. Mazar says it will comply, Lisa.
Thanks, Gernal. This says the president invokes executive privilege, directing former White House counsel Don McGahn to ignore a subpoena to appear before the House Judiciary Committee tomorrow.
What the statement from the White House is saying to all of this is that the special counsel already received more than 1.5 or 1.4 million documents, hours of interviews, that they have already spoken to Don McGahn for more than 30 hours about all of this, and this is unnecessary. And then also claiming that this privilege extends to the former counselor to the president, and therefore he doesn't have to comply with this subpoena. Democrats are hoping that he would be on the Hill tomorrow to discuss the Mueller report and his inclusion in it. He was cited a number of times by Robert Mueller, especially on the question of obstruction of justice.
Fox's Rich Edson at the White House. The committee still plans to meet even if McGahn doesn't show. Committee Chair Jerry Nadler, when asked by Fox News, said that he had no statement right now. Wall Street at the close. The Dow lost 84, the Nasdaq off 113, the S&P minus 19. This is Fox News.
If you're driving, chances are you'll need gas soon. And by the growl in your tummy, a trip to the grocery store too. But don't just buy gas and groceries without getting double miles. Instead, apply for the new United credit card from First Hawaiian Bank and start earning double miles towards your next trip. Gas, groceries, getaway. With the new United credit card, apply at FHB.com. First Hawaiian Bank, member FDIC. Equal housing lender. Additional terms, conditions, and restrictions apply.
Save big. Save really big when you bundle up your insurance policies with Nanbo Insurance. Insure your home, auto, motorcycle, or business with Nanbo and enjoy great savings, up to 50%. When it comes to insuring your property, no one knows better than the company with over 50 years of service to the community. Don't compromise the things that matter to you most. Call Nanbo today at 477-9754 or visit nanbo.com for more information. Nanbo Insurance, serving you since 1968.
An emergency response center is open in Oklahoma City. The Air Force Base has moved aircraft to other military installations as residents of the southern plains brace for severe weather.
This is a large area talking about north central Texas up into Oklahoma, all areas where there's a tornado watch in place. And actually, we already have some warned tornadoes throughout that region as well. This is all happening along a big cold front. So you're seeing temperatures in the middle 80s, just a little further to the north, temperatures in some cases down to the middle 40s. That warm and cold air slam into each other. On top of that, a whole lot of moisture in this warmer pile of air, drier air to the north. That is going to be a line where it's going to be a slow-moving system. We could see a whole lot happening now.
Fox meteorologist Adam Klotz, the chairman of the FCC, and two other members of its board say they will support the Sprint T-Mobile merger, but there still must be a full commission vote and must clear the Justice Department. Job cuts coming at Ford.
Ford says by August it will have eliminated 7,000 jobs globally, making up 10% of its workforce. It's cutting 2,300 U.S. jobs through buyouts and layoffs. Approximately 1,500 of the cuts have already happened. CEO Jim Hackett says in a memo to employees the restructuring starts Tuesday, and most of it will be finished by May 24th. Ford says it's nearly finished with its major global restructuring. Approximately 500 workers will be let go this week. Jenny Cosola, Fox News.
Retired two-time Indy 500 winner Al Unser Jr. arrested early this morning in central Indiana, charged with operating a vehicle while intoxicated. A police officer in the town of Avon pulled his vehicle over shortly after 1 a.m., clocking it going 59 in a 45-mile-per-hour zone. Unser said he hadn't been drinking, but he staggered to the rear of his vehicle after exiting the car, lost his balance, fell to the ground, and rolled down an embankment. After he refused to feel sobriety test, he had his blood drawn. That's pending results. I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
Business travel just got easier. Take your data plan with you for only $10 a day to all 17 Data2Go destinations. Never worry about additional data roaming charges when you go where your business needs you. The U.S., China, Thailand, and so much more. Have the assurance you need to check emails, surf the web, and stay connected. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your account is Data2Go ready. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
Legends aren't born, they are made. And during our Jeep Celebration event at Cars Plus and Mighty, you'll receive up to $6,000 in accessories with the purchase of a new Jeep Wrangler, Motor Trend SUV of the Year. Customize your new Jeep to the way you want it. Or how about a new Jeep Grand Cherokee? Save up to $5,000. Or save up to $7,500 on a new Jeep Compass Sport. It's our Jeep Celebration event going on now at Cars Plus and Mighty. Cars Plus, driven by you. Accessory special cannot be combined with other offers. See dealer for details.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 8 a.m. this Tuesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Sex offenders on parole will be required to report weekly rather than monthly starting next month. Michael Kinata, the chief parole officer for the Department of Corrections, said the change will take place as a result of what's been going on in the last few months. Kinata announced the change during a legislative status update on the sex offender registry that was held yesterday at the legislature. Senator Therese Terlahi, who chairs the Justice Committee, called the hearing in the wake of the April arrest of Paul Santos Mafnes Jr. Mafnes was arrested on charges of kidnapping and sexually assaulting a 10-year-old girl after he was released on parole in 2014 following 18 years in prison on a prior criminal sexual conduct conviction. The sex offender registry is maintained by the Judiciary of Guam. It allows residents to search for convicted sex offenders by name and find out where they live and what they look like. The bids from vendors seeking to operate one of the gambling games of chance at this year's Liberation Carnival were opened on Friday evening at the Mayor's Council of Guam's office in Agana. If the winning bidders get cleared by the Department of Rev and Tax, Mayor's Council Executive Director Angel Sablan estimated a little bit over $400,000 will have been raised. The money is not in the bank yet. Rev and Tax Director Daphne Shimizu says the bidders must get business license and tax clearances first. Neither Shimizu nor Sablan would release the names of the winning bidders until those clearances have been granted. There were not enough bids to fill all of the available slots, and Sablan said another round of bidding may be held. Only one bidder qualified for one of the 2 house of cards available, and no one bid on the 2 slots available for the Beto Beto game. The decision on whether another round of bidding will be held will be made tomorrow at the Liberation Carnival Committee meeting. We'll have more news after this.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
Hi, welcome to this Subway ad for the new Sweet and Smoky Steak and Guac Signature Wrap. How would you like it?
I'll take my ex-girlfriend, just checking in.
Aw.
Hey, David, it's me, just checking in. I'm doing great. Just got the new Sweet and Smoky Steak and Guac Signature Wrap from Subway. Creamy guacamole, smoky sweet with Hio mesquite sauce, and double the tender steak. They just know what I want before I do. So, yeah, things are going pretty great for me. Subway, make it what you want. Limited time only at participating restaurants. Double meat based on average 6-inch sub. Okay, bye.
10 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. A taxpayer-funded private health insurance plan that covers children in foster care on island expires at the end of this month when the money runs out. However, Public Health Administrator Tess Archangel told the Guam Daily Post they're not going to run out of insurance because they have CHIP. CHIP stands for the Children's Health Insurance Program, which is a federally funded program and covers 91.5% of the cost of insuring children in foster care on Guam. It has its own local match, said Archangel, which has been fully funded and will not run out. However, the $500,000 appropriated for the private health plan for foster kids will run out on May 31st. That plan is provided by Calvo's Select Care. Archangel said she doesn't know why they appropriated that funding for the private health insurance plan because they're already covered by the federal plan. When contacted for comment, Select Care Plan Administrator Frank Campillo told the Guam Daily Post, "We offered the insurance per GovGuam's request, but we have no quarrels on the views of public health." Senator Amanda Shelton has introduced a measure that would expand the prohibition against tobacco smoking in public places to include a ban on the smoke generated by vaping. Bill 138-35 would amend the Natasha Protection Act of 2005 to include banning the use of vaping devices in the same places that smoking cigarettes are currently prohibited under the law. Electronic smoking devices were not around when the Natasha Protection Act was first passed in 2005, said Shelton, and the law must keep pace with the advent of new technology, she said. There are currently no laws on island to prohibit the use of the electronic smoking devices used in vaping. All other senators in the Guam legislature have signed on as co-sponsors of Senator Shelton's bill. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with some weather.
And it's 8:11 in the morning, and the weather forecast calls for thunderstorms. Simon Sanchez, it should be about 4 o'clock this afternoon when they get into the CCU meeting, but otherwise partly sunny with isolated showers today. Southwest winds 10 to 15. I was serious about the thunderstorms thing. That's real. That could happen today. 10 to 15 miles an hour. Highs near 89 degrees. Overnight lows of about 79 degrees. Sunset tonight, 6:41. We watch the sunrise tomorrow morning at about 5:53, 5:52. It's been coming up earlier these days because we're in that time of the year, and it's that time on the calendar. So that's what that's all about. Taking a look at the radar imaging. What did we do? What did we say? Duke Skywalker.
Talker.
Duke Sky Talker.
Yeah.
Is here.
Duke Sky Talker. Where's
Duke
my
Sky,
reverb?
Yes, with
I should have reverb. I know, right?
Technology. But the only I mean, if we said it at the same time.
I think I saw one in the back room.
Yeah, it's analog though. Everything in here is digital.
We can fix it.
So 8:12 in the morning. Here is Duke Sky Talker, Michael Knight, with his interpreting of the weather radar.
Yeah, looking at radar now, got a few of those isolated showers sliding on by in the general southwest flow. Actually, really happy for Tinian and Saipan. They're getting the rain that they really need to. We all need the rain, but they need it just about as badly as we do. So they're getting some of that rain up there. I'm looking at the satellite. I'll go ahead and switch over to that real quick because I'm kind of encouraged by what I see in the satellite. If we can switch to the satellite.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I was getting a note here about going to... No, it's my brother's trying to get me to go to another guy's gun store.
You know, you don't have to tell us.
His gun, and I'm like, he says, So this the thing is, so if I stay in the house, my power bill is going to go up to $300 a month because the air conditioner is running. But if I leave the house, it generally costs me about $100 every time I go. Yeah. Right? And so I'm just going to run by Home Depot, pick something else. It's $200 later. Yeah. Oh, yeah, just go meet some friends for, dinner and drinks later on. Okay, that's $100. So I was thinking I'll just stay home, but apparently that cost me money, too.
Yeah, that's what works for me. That's why I buy $5 Asahi six-packs and sit at home and watch the sunset from my front porch.
Hey, 13 in the morning. Okay, there's your satellite.
There is the satellite. Now, we see one little initial push of cloud coming on through, but back behind it, you see a pretty strong line of some yellows and oranges. Good line of showers there. You can see that on radar, and my hope is that there's enough support in the terms of the low pressure that's spinning and maybe high pressure building behind that it could push that rain down here. Weather Service says that's not likely. Looks like the weather system, the low pressure that's actually the cause for most of this instability is pulling away, but it hasn't started pulling away yet. So, we still hold on hope that we might see significant rain today. Again, that's not what the forecast is calling for. So if you get some rain, enjoy it because, you're getting lucky.
Well, it's the thunder bumpers that I kind of like the sound of.
Yeah, me too. I enjoyed
lightning strike, but then the sound, and you try to gauge where it is or whether it's getting closer to you or moving further away. And it's funny because, you and I were talking earlier this morning about the last week's thunder and lightning show that we had there. But my recollection is that it sounded like it was getting closer to me, but then you chimed in about one that was like in your backyard.
Yeah.
So these things must have been like island wide.
It really and because at the time I was actually talking to Landon Evans, and we were talking. He was in Agana, I was in Tamuning, and he reported lightning, and then I reported lightning. We were talking to each other, so it was kind of moving right along the shoreline there, and it's just a short click over to Mongmong Toto.
What's the speed of sound, right? I mean, so what are we trying to figure out if you see the lightning and then you count to the thunder?
Oh, yeah. No, it's 5 seconds. 5 seconds is a mile.
Okay.
So every 5 seconds is a mile in distance. And so, and if you're, for those of you who are more into the metric system, 3 seconds is a kilometer.
I don't do drugs, man.
Yeah, me either. So, so that's it. So every 5 seconds you count is a mile away. But those that we saw the other day, it was like flash, 1, 2, boom.
Oh yeah, and a big. And anywhere, if you were anywhere near mountains or tall buildings, you got it. You got it a couple of times because there was something for it to bounce off of. Quarter after 8 o'clock in the morning, and that's news and weather together here in The Point.
Okay, I think it's coming up soon.
Yeah, we're on Route 1 and near the airport intersection, right?
There, see it? What's the promo code? Look for the promo code.
Check out the Vantage Digital Billboard and reap the rewards. Catch the promo code on the screen and get $10 off your stroll ride by inputting the promo code on the Stroll Guam app.
Did you see it? You got it.
I got it. You just focus on driving.
Take advantage today and take a look at Vantage Advertising's digital billboard located on Route 1 at the airport intersection.
Portions of the program here being brought to you by my pals. They're your pals, too. We all want to get together and make Tyrion Lannister not be so sad. Poor guy's walking around like he's been listening to Adele songs all day. Portions brought to you by American President Lines. APL is shipping the future. Micronesia Renewable Energy. There's never been a better time to go solar than now, because they've got batteries that will go along with your solar systems as well. Give them a call and find out about consultations and things like that. Guys over at Guam Regional Medical City. There it is. First choice for all of your specialty care needs.
Get a half gallon of Minute Maid orange juice for only $1.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a half gallon of Dairy Gold milk for only $1.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a $7 meal for only $1.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy.
Raymond Gibson says portions of the program also brought to you by Security Title. Ron and Kim working on all kinds of things behind the scenes on all kinds of transactions that you never heard about because they know how to keep a secret. Confidentiality important to you? Go through Security Title. Take Care Insurance also brings you portions of the show. And the Jeep celebration continues at Cars Plus in Mighty. Get yourself behind the wheel of a brand new Jeep Wrangler. How about making it totally yours with $6,000 worth of accessories at Cars Plus?
The Coconut Wireless is back. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now. 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Daryl Taggarty says Thunder needed since most homes don't have 15-inch woofers in the home sound systems like we had back in the day. Need to recalibrate to the actual sounds of life. Nick Perlowski says, I laugh at all the car alarms that go off with the loud thunder. And Neat's asking, LOL, GOT? Sad? Ha ha ha. Yeah, there are a couple of moments, but I don't know. Without giving away too much of the show, Tyrion Lannister's just kept these puppy dog eyes the entire way through the thing. Did you watch it?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody should have. It's over. I don't care. I'm giving spoilers. So.
Oh no!
Yep.
Careful! No, we don't have too many of those shame moments because virtually everybody that would have gotten shamed is dead.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean that's where
I just think it's a shame the way they wrote the ending based on what I've been hearing.
Which
from
part?
everybody. The whole thing. Especially the last episode.
Yeah, Tracy Limtiaco is. I'm trying to, explain why. There's a sense of disappointment. There's a sense of where's the beef. But then there's also this. The way I'm looking at it is the last couple of episodes before the finale were really really super intense. So if we took the intensity of the battle with the walkers and we took the intensity of the battle for King's Landing and included those and just made them part of a 3-hour movie. You're still yawning.
No.
No, it's not working for you. All right, well, I'm going to give up on that interpretation because it doesn't seem to be working. Kev?
Well, the penultimate episodes in every season have always been the most intense. And the last in each season has always been a bit easier.
Just fold everything together and say, okay, this is how it's going to end. We all wanted the cliffhanger.
See, their continuity was a little off again. There's pictures floating around out there.
Somebody,
of a water bottle.
A water bottle, yeah. I caught that this morning. But
surprised it wasn't like a Pizza Hut box or something.
Right? Well, there was, but most people didn't catch it. I thought that was the only thing that I was there. 20 after 8 o'clock in the morning. Hey, it's time for Sports with Mike. Want Tyrion to be happy like the people in cell phone commercials. All right, so what do we got here? Is there any sports at all? Now we actually have to talk about stuff because Game of Thrones is over.
There is. There's one.
Here's the sport.
There's one thing left, and actually, it's kind of already happened. But this is an all-star game, so this is brand new as the. Let's see. Here we go. 5th annual Wendy's High School Boys All-Star Game will take place once again Memorial Day weekend, Memorial Day Monday, really to be exact. And the winner gets $500. As let's see here, Leonard Uggan and the Island Wolves from a year ago They won last year. You're also going to get some free gas. It's going to happen between, let's see here. Do I have the names of the teams? I don't have the names of the teams here this year. But the main event, high school all-star game, IIAAG boys basketball all-star game, that is. It's going to happen at the Father Duenas Phoenix Center on Memorial Day, May 27th at 6 p.m. Middle school all-star game will tip off at 4 p.m. And this will pretty much signify the end of the, I guess, IIAAG season. It'll also signify pretty much the end of school, right? When does DOD? When does DOE get out?
No idea. None whatsoever. Yeah, you should ask somebody that works at a talk radio station. I have no idea.
I actually think it's the 31st. I think it's the 31st, or maybe it's the week of the 27th. I know that for sure because I know my family, sans me, is they're getting out of here for summer, leaving me behind. Yeah, so it'll just be me. But I think that they leave. Mrs. Sports taking the kids, I believe, on the last day of school and leaving Island. So that's coming up about a week or so.
8:22 in the morning. Yeah, so we're almost to there, and then it comes down to what we're going to do to keep us occupied with sports over the summertime months. And I don't really have any good answers on that one. So I'm going to defer to a conversation that just started on the Facebook Live about 15-inch subwoofers that we used to have when I was growing up. We had an old Sansui quad system. It had a receiver built into it, both AM and FM. Which I thought was pretty cool back in when I was 14 or 15 years old. You could record onto it, and there were places to actually plug in microphones on this thing, and then you had little faders, for left and right, front left and right, and rear left and right. Yeah, because it was a quad system. Right. But the best part of these old systems, and guys like Daryl Taggarty and some of the other older guys will remember, they came with these great three-way speaker systems. You got highs, the mids, and the lows, and the lows are these massive big volume of air moving things. And so, it's one of those things that I'd kind of like to recreate one of these days. Because otherwise, because everything is getting smaller, right? To a degree, everybody's, it's funny. I was at a place the other day, and all of the sound was coming from these Bluetooth speakers.
Yeah,
and I'm just, guys, you can do better than Bluetooth. You can do, but if you had to, if you've absolutely positively got to do Bluetooth, I want you to know that there are some systems that are out there that you can tie them up to amplifiers. I've got a micro amplifier in the house, right?
How big? You said micro.
Literally about the same size.
Like a computer chip?
No,
a little bigger.
I'm trying to
smaller than a phone.
Little Tupperware sandwich box.
Oh, okay.
Little Tupperware sandwich box, right?
Small one, yeah.
So it only has one input. So that's why I've got a Bluetooth receiver, a Bose Bluetooth receiver, with the new version of Bluetooth on it that talks to it, and so it'll take it from there, and then it uses nothing but audiophile chips all the way through.
Really?
Audiophile chips on the amplifying side, and it's just absolutely sweet. I hooked it up to some Bose speakers and can make a nice noise in the house, right? But there's a part of me that is now looking around. It gets me thinking about, dude, I still want one of those big, huge, 250-watt receivers with four Sansui speakers that weigh 100 pounds each,
with the wood casing on the side.
Yes.
People would. They probably weren't meant to be mounted, but people would. I think my dad mounted two of them in our living room.
Many times they wound up actually being part of your furniture too.
Furniture.
Stuff on top of that.
You could put the doilies on top of these things.
Put a lamp on it.
That's how people knew that we were having a party. Was we'd take these things outside the house, and because you could play the house with them. The house. So and not too many people have got these old systems anymore. It's too bad.
The first time I ever really remember listening to the radio where it was in the game room and I could control it on my own was at my great grandmother's house in her game room. And she had one of those big Sears from like the early 70s, the big Sears, like, let's see, record player and radio, like console, that was, and when you closed it up, it became kind of a serving buffet, it was like Mike said, it was a big piece of furniture.
Those were awesome.
That when you opened up was, wow, it's a radio. And of course, when you turned it on,
I wonder if somebody still has one of those around.
I gave mine away.
988-5874. If you've got one of those old console systems out there.
Mine was specifically Sears brand. It was Sears and Roebuck brand.
I can close my eyes and see the one that Shelley and I grew up with at Mom's old house in Timonic. And that's where you open the thing up, and there was a record player in there.
Right.
And you could plug in, if you had them, you could plug in a reel-to-reel deck. 988-5874. If you got one of those things laying around the house, that'd be cool. And there might actually be somebody willing to buy it from you if you were willing to get rid of it. If for no other reason, because you can refurb all of that stuff. Look, it's all discrete electronics, right?
Right.
So the only thing that might have gone bad in it is probably some capacitors, and you can go online and buy replace capacitor. I've done that with radios in the past. Old Radio Shack radios that they still had life in them. Good, really good shortwave receivers, and you can buy what's called a capacitor replacement kit for some of these things, and you just sit at the kitchen table and unwire old capacitors and wire new capacitors in. Works better, sounds better, all of that stuff. And that's how you resurrect these things.
What was cool about me is growing up, I used to listen to tons of radio shows from the States on that radio in the summer. You know, my dad would drop me off at my great-grandma's house while I was playing pool in the game room, and I told my great-grandma, I said, one day you'll hear me come out of these speakers, and she did.
That's funny.
She lived.
That's so funny.
It all. Everything lived long enough for me to break into radio as a young broadcaster. And so eventually I ended up with the radio. So I heard not only me, I heard myself come out of that.
Isn't that cool? Juan Benitez online says try the Sonos system app, which I've seen the Sonos system, but I'm not sure if I can afford it. The only people David John had one, and he the app on his phone, and then the speakers and the audio that kind of follows you around the house and all of that stuff. I thought it was pretty cool, and then he told me how much he bought it for. I'm like, never mind. I just got I got really good headphones from Renee Coffin. How's that?
Yeah, caller reminded us that we should not forget that those systems that we're talking about all had 8 tracks in them as well.
Dude, it's okay because I've got it figured out. I got to figure. So you get they used to have a thing called a Mona back in the old days, which was an 8-track cassette adapter.
Yes.
So you take the 8-track cassette adapter, and then you go to Micropack Audio and get an adapter for the cassette. So the cassette goes into the adapter, and then there's the new kind of things. We'll take an aux cord from something, it plugs into the cassette. So the cassette will talk to the Mona adapter, which will talk to the 8-track.
Yep.
It'll sound like crap.
Yeah.
But it will
works.
work. The functionality should be there. Shelley says the Sonos is amazing, and all of that, and all over her friend's house. Melissa Perlowski's online. Vince Pareto, Carlos Camacho is there. Who else? Juan Benitez, as I said. John Zillion is online this morning. Always nice to see some of my favorite old names. Dave Duenas, speaking of older names. Ina Carrillo is on. Jose Martinez, Frank Blas Jr. Hoffa Senador. What are you doing there? Calling in to just chiming in to see what people are talking about online. That's good. Anyway, 8:28 in the morning, and 888-8255 is the telephone number around here. Hit me up on the Facebook Live or hit me up on the WhatsApp, and we'll see if there's any kind of trouble that we can shake into.
I do have this as well.
Nobody's talking about sports. Mark Cruz online says, yeah, AM/FM, record player, 8-track, full-size bar, and disco lights. Well, you are a Cruz.
So wait, they had all that on a
in the thing, yeah. Oh,
a disco ball,
dude! You know Mark Cruz. Okay, you know the guy, Big Mark, Tall Mark Cruz, right? Big Tall Mark Cruz. When he was a student, he used to have this boom box.
Right.
And
like in Do the Right Thing.
It was massive. I mean, it was like he was carrying a pallet.
Yeah.
that made noise, and it was the lights and everything. And I'm not sure. It might have even had a little black and white TV in it. Might actually have a black and white TV. You know, so we all went shopping at the same places. It's crazy 80s times. Anyway, so what were you going to say?
Nothing. I have nothing. I have nothing.
Neat says, what have I got? I want to say that Neat said DOE is closing up this week.
This week?
That's what she said. DOE this week.
Oh, no.
Is that even possible?
Friday? Sounds right. I feel like they're done Friday.
Dude, I really should check. One of us, I got a host, I got a reporter, we got somebody ought to check and see when the school closure thing is. I can tell you what time Mass is during Lent, but I can't tell you when the schools are closing in the almost summertime place where we are. Can't be that soon. I mean, it's only the 21st of May, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's got to be. Is it next Friday? It's gotta be
you know
next
what? Maybe
Friday.
it's just one of those things where the teachers are just going to stop showing up. You can still drop the kids off at school, but there won't be anybody there. That would be the way to do that. Anything big going on in national sports?
In national sports, we have one big thing going on as we do.
NBA, right?
Yes, NBA. Yesterday, the Bucks finally let the Raptors get one. So the Bucks still lead the series 2-1. It went to double overtime, so it was an exciting game yesterday. If you saw that, you know what I'm talking about. Today, the Warriors look to close out the Portland Trailblazers. They lead the series 3-0. That game tipping off in Rip City, local time, 11 a.m. on ESPN here locally. Yep. So Warriors, Trailblazers, 11 a.m. on ESPN, and the Blazers fighting for their lives. If they lose, it's over, unfortunately. And that's sad because Terry Stotts, he's got a lot of Guam connections, and he's the head coach for the Portland Trailblazers. So go Portland.
Gotcha. And I understand that Mark Cruz chiming in about his boombox from back in the old days. I want to say it. I want to give it another name, but I guess we couldn't say it on the radio then. Can't say it on the radio now. Something rigged. Anyway, JFK apparently banned them the following year. So that's always that's always nice when there is a rule at school or your business that's actually named after you. You're the reason why that rule exists, and that's why if you're a student at JFK, no ghetto blasters at the school.
I think that's why they all have earbuds in now. They all got their earbuds in when you see JFK, all the kids. Yeah, they're all walking around with earbuds.
Shelley says golf was great this weekend. We talked about golf yesterday. We talked about golf yesterday just long enough to be able to get a picture of what's his name, Coping's girlfriend. Kepka's girlfriend.
He's got a girlfriend?
They look tight to me.
Really?
Close enough.
Okay.
Whatever. Dude, this Guam, hide in plain sight.
Well, that's my favorite thing to do is hide in plain sight. As long as I keep my mouth shut, nobody knows that it's me sitting next to them.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Until I start talking, like, wait a second.
Us. All right, 8:32 in the morning, and Kevin Kerrigan's laptop is
closed.
He's ready to go. I said, got the thing closed. Let me just get through the headlines, and he's going to go jam because it's going to be a busy news day today, I think. 8:32, that's all the time we got to pretend to talk about sports and audiophile sonics and things like that. I'll see if I can get you a link to my micro amplifier and one of these things that could answer the question that many of you have. You get the wife saying, are we ever going to get rid of that ugly stereo? It clashes with everything. This one here, you can hide. You can literally hide it. That small.
Did you like the, let me ask you this before I get out of here. Did you like the Game of Thrones ending better than the Sopranos ending?
Huh.
Is it just as big of a letdown or not?
You know what? I don't know that I made it to the end of the Sopranos.
You know what's funny about The Sopranos and me? The only episode I ever watched was the last episode. I never watched it.
You were talking about last episodes, but I'm trying to remember how
I
many.
never watched The Sopranos. I never was into that.
Me neither. But I did watch the last episode.
Yeah.
Last episode of MASH back in, what was that, 81, 82. That one there, I mean, that tugged at my heartstrings a little bit, but I don't recall it being bad, because I think virtually everybody lived in that one. Everybody survived that. The Game of Thrones episode obviously lost a couple of big characters. So,
but not everybody. Spoiler alert, not everybody dies. Just most everybody.
Yeah.
Where did the dragon take Danny?
And who was braiding her hair now that Melisandre is dead? How did she get all that hair braided?
It was like more braids than normal.
More.
Yeah. I mean,
it was like braids held together with braids.
Yeah.
It looked like Medusa.
8:34 in the morning, and if you want to know what we're talking about, go and watch Game of Thrones. Hurry up, get it out so we can talk about it on the air. That's Blake Watson. Kevin Kerrigan's got headlines next.
So what's the deal? Are you still paying for the right to have your checking account at your bank? Well, at Bank Pacific, we think it's our privilege, not our right. That's why we offer My Green Free Checking, where your monthly maintenance checking fees are zero. That's zero. And it comes with a free Visa check card and monthly green e-statements. My Green Free Checking. Bank Pacific today. Because having you as our customer, that's our privilege.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, FDIC. Viva Bank Pacific.
Oh, look at that Facebook Live cranking this morning. I got beauty all over the place. Asian sensation, right? Sue Lee online this morning. And I see Director Cho has chimed in, as she usually does about this time. Anybody else playing around? I'll go through some of the names a little bit later on. But first, I got to do headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, a former Guam customs officer has asked for a reduced sentence of just 1 year and 1 day in jail for cooperating with federal authorities over the last 4 years in the prosecution of Juanita Mosier and Raymond Martinez. In his appeal for a reduced sentence filed with the court, former Customs Lieutenant Henry Alvandia maintains that he earned a reduced sentence by helping authorities bring down two of Guam's biggest drug dealers. Alvandia contends he should be granted additional leniency, citing the continued risk that he will face for the rest of his life because of his cooperation with prosecutors. Alvandia has pleaded guilty to accepting more than $30,000 in bribes and kickbacks. He faces a maximum sentence of 60 months in jail, but Federal government is recommending a sentence of between 18 and 24 months. Sentencing is scheduled for this Thursday. A U.S. citizen wanted in Minnesota on allegations of distributing child pornography has been deported from the Philippines here to Guam, where he remains in custody pending an identity hearing on Friday. 40-year-old Gary James Dokulil was detained by Philippine authorities in Angeles City on February 22nd after a warrant was issued for his arrest by a U.S. district court in Minnesota. The FBI has accused Dokulil of distributing child pornography to an undercover law enforcement officer utilizing a file-sharing network. Dokulil was deported here to Guam and will be subsequently sent back to Minnesota to face those charges following his Friday hearing. Guam police are asking for the public's help in finding the two thieves who robbed the Champion Sporting Goods store in Manilao yesterday morning. Surveillance video shows the men stealing pellet guns, knives, and other merchandise. The robbers are believed to have gotten into the store through a crawl space in the wall. Both men have their faces covered with cloth. One of them was wearing a white long-sleeved shirt with light-colored pants, and the other wearing a white sleeveless shirt with light-colored pants as well. Anyone with information about the crime is asked to call the Guam Police dispatch line at 472-8911 or call Guam Crime Stoppers at 477-HELP. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Okay. 8:37 or so in the morning. Thanks very much for your participation, Kevin Kerrigan. We'll tune in with a great degree of anticipation tomorrow to find out just what kind of cool news you've uncovered today. CCU meeting tonight. I bet you that's front page tomorrow on the Post. 8:38 and run by the nearest iConnect and ask them about the great rates and great prices they've got on really, really cool packages, almost scaled to match your needs. The number again, 888-8888.
If you're driving, chances are you'll need gas soon. And by the growl in your tummy, a trip to the grocery store too. But don't just buy gas and groceries without getting double miles. Instead, apply for the new United credit card from First Hawaiian Bank and start earning double miles towards your next trip. Gas, groceries, getaway. With the new United credit card, apply at FHB.com. First Hawaiian Bank, member FDIC. Equal housing lender. Additional terms, conditions, and restrictions apply.
Oh, man, I'm not ready for traffic. I got to break out the traffic gizmo. I was looking for something else. It was talking about really, really cool micro amplifiers that you can get. Because if you don't need the big deal in the house, you just need something to drive a couple of speakers and plug a Bluetooth adapter into, this is the rig that you're looking for. And I'll get to it in a second. Route 3, real kind of ugly up around the schools area. I'm not sure why right now. But if you are aware of an accident up there, let me know. Or maybe just a lot of cars trying to get down to Route 1 off Marine Corps Drive. Things look like it's all cleared up northbound through the south end and center parts of Guam. Even looks like it's running clear down in Sumai over by Big Navy. Don't see anything in front of Navy Hospital. Don't see anything in front of Anderson Air Force Base. Everything is running clear on 4 and 10 and 8. So enjoy the drive. That's right now traffic here on The Point.
We know too well the inconvenience of not having power after a storm. You worry about the food in the freezer going bad. Nights get hot. It's hard finding comfort when going to sleep. These are realities. But with solar and battery storage from Micronesia Renewable Energy, these realities can be a thing of the past. The solar works during the day and the batteries power your home at night. Call 632-2613 to see how solar plus battery storage can make life a little more convenient. MRE, the smarter choice.
So I posted. It's not bluing out like it should be because it's a link. Maybe that's just something that Facebook is doing right now. But I posted the information. There it is to an Amazon page that has a link to the Kinter K2020 A+ amplifier that I was talking about. I left this out because, frankly, I forgot about it. One of the things is that, it's got real audiophile quality in there. I have not yet hit a place on the volume where I can begin to hear the amplifier work. In fact, there are places where I'll start to hear distortion, based on the source material and the Bluetooth in the speakers before I hear anything coming out of the amplifier. That being said, one signal, it's got a little bit of basic EQ on it, bass and treble. But the fun part about this thing is, like I said, it's very, very small, very, very concealable, and it's very cheap. You can get a darn near audiophile quality out of this thing for, I want to say maybe it was $33, $34 on Amazon.com. And the thing is they had such a good run. I'm going to click on this because I haven't been to that page in a while. They had such a good run at that super low price that they run out. So it's possible that when you click on that link, you're going to get there and there won't be anything that you can buy. It's not going to handle a whole lot of watts. It's not going to be putting out a whole bunch. But if all you're trying to do is drive yourself onto some Bluetooth in the house, should be all right. So where does he have? $38.88 for this Kinter 2020A limited edition original tri-path Class T hi-fi audio mini amplifier. And there you go, just as pretty as that. 19 minutes away from the top of the hour, 888-825-5888-TALK. I was hoping that, where's that guy? Jimmy Moylan would be in the studio. Oh, he's on the phone. Oh, he's just on the phone. All right, that's fine. Because I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about something that we've touched on many times, and I've also touched on a little bit with Senator Clint Rogel of the 35th Guam legislature, and that is a concern that I have got, that we have now taken out a $30 million loan for a hole in the ground.
That's right. Hopefully, it's our last hole in the ground, Ray.
It's got to be. There's just we can't obviously grow out. We can't grow any more dumps out or make them wider. We're not going to make the dump taller. We've got to come up with a better plan and take advantage of what is that? We're going to the new cell that we're going to build. That's going to buy us another 5 years, 10 years?
Well, they're projecting that, or even longer if some recycling efforts are done. However, recycling also costs money. So we had some issues. We got to close that. We got to close the Orta dump, open that the landfill, the new one, and implementation of what we really got to look at. I think is also some residential tipping fees for everyone, not just only half of the residents are currently paying these tipping fees. So right now there's, I believe it's 18,000 residential properties, and only half are paying the tipping fees. So that's something else we want to look at to help resolve our problem.
So what are the other half doing with their trash? Are they eating it? Are they dropping it off at the transfer stations? Or as is might be likely, there might be a lot of people out there that going, screw you guys, I'm taking my trash and dumping it in the boondocks over by Ramirez Street.
Right, yeah. EPA is also, Walter Leon-Guerra was looking at those issues too, and he's doing some studies along with Mr. Gass at Guam Solid Waste, and they're working on some projects to really look at that whole thing. If only half of our residential customers are paying for the tipping fees, the other half may be hiring somebody to pick up the rubbish and dump it, but we don't know where they dump it.
Right.
Or they just keep it in the back of the truck, or they just burn it in back of the house. So, but we have to correct that. We have to educate our public. We really need everyone to participate in the tipping fees, and that constitutes 40% of the revenue for the garbage there for Guam Solid Waste. 40% is household, and the other 60% is commercial. But if we had the other 8,000 participate on the residential side, we could pay off this debt, $30 million in half the time.
Yeah.
And also look at putting more money into the next research and what's the technology out there instead of digging holes.
Well, I'm a fan of waste energy. We can spend more time talking about that. But then again, there's another conversation. I'm trying to remember if you were here for it, but when we first got into the conversation, and the receivers were just looking around, and the question was, how are we going to pay them? and how are we going to pay for everything that needed to get done, and then how are we going to make it so that that everybody had an opportunity to get themselves lined up with the service. And they decided to go kind of with the subscription model that we have now. But in some municipalities, they say we're just going to increase your real property taxes in an area. And that's we will take that additional money and put it into taking care of trash. So everybody is paying. I mean, if you live someplace and you've got a property and you're paying taxes on it, or if you're living in an apartment, then your landlord is paying the tax on it. Then all of a sudden everything that needs to get paid for is paid for.
Correct. Yeah.
But I don't. They had around that time a tax increase, you might recall. And the legislature, I think, was gun-shy about going back into it, doing the same thing, because there are a lot of people that were asked not to return to the legislature afterwards.
I hear you. But we have to do something, because what's really working, this may work for now in the public hearing where we borrowed this $30 million based on the current tipping fees if the economy remains the way it is. Mm-hmm. And they projected some slight growth in the next few years, but the next 2 years we're kind of flat. But if everything goes as planned, we should be able to pay this off without increasing tipping fees. However, that's never the case. Like we've seen, things happen, things go sour, and if that happens, then we're looking at increasing taxes. But to prevent that, what we should do is get everybody involved in their tipping fees, participate in the tipping fees.
Yeah, but you can't force people to do it. I mean, I got Neats here on the line, and she generates trash. But when she's got enough for a pickup truck, she sticks it in the truck and takes it down there for $7.50.
That's possible too. However, this overall for the whole island, we had to look at it as a whole, and this is something that people need to consider. So,
but again, you can't force people to pay for it unless we find a way to squeeze it into some other kind of tax, which is going to get paid anyway. I mean, a real property tax. God, you cut my tongue out for saying it. But an increase in the GRT that would be specific just for that, and it would sunset. It would sunset. We'd say, after this date, then we are going to roll back this increase in whatever it is, because by then we will have set up. Did I say voice to energy? I meant waste energy. Sorry about that, Daryl. I just talking fast in my head, and sometimes it comes out my mouth different. But some other mechanism that will allow for universal access to the solid waste systems and universal pay, because everybody generates trash.
Absolutely. If you have your home, that's correct. If we make that a requirement, that may happen. That may happen. But we know illegal dumping is going on, and some folks may feel they can take care of their own trash. But what we've seen on the island, that's for the majority, that's not the case.
Yeah. Sam Beanie online saying reduce with legislation to eliminate styrofoam and plastic bags.
That's also another alternative.
But how am I going to take? I didn't finish all of my assignment. So if I don't have what are they going to give it to me in one of those little hefty boxes? Which is also made of plastic.
Right again. And there's other concerns about recycling, but that also costs money to ship it off island or dispose ground it down to something usable. It all costs money, and that's where these tipping fees, again, are important that everybody participates in it.
Well, I don't disagree. I just maybe the conversation needs to go wider on how we accomplish something like that. Because as I said, I can see us having this conversation forever and ever and ever, and then the guys over at GSWA are going to come back and say, well, that's it for the last two cells are just about full. We got 2 rainy seasons in front of us, so we got to start working on this now. And then there's going to be another emergency measure moving through the legislature, and we'll spend another $30 million on a hole in the ground.
Right. Instead of doing something else important, which we getting more money for the hospital, right? But yet we're trying to figure out how we can dispose of our trash. So yes, I foresee something being mandatory and on a tax form, whether it be on the property tax or or something else. But we have to go that route. At least I think so. If we're going to pay off this debt before things happen, if we're going to look at new sources of other than digging holes, a new way to convert our trash into energy.
Well, you and I've talked about a little bit the private activity bonds, and the guys that weren't too far away from the conversation kind of chimed in and said, "Dude, there's got to be more that we can do with the incredible abundance of tires that we've got here on Guam." I did some looking around, and pulverizers for glass aren't that expensive. I mean, you could get one and stick it in each village, and at the end of it, we wouldn't have as much glass pollution as we've got. You can use the glass for use in the aggregate for our roadways. You can sell it to the mechanics because you can make these things really like super fine, and you sell it to the mechanics and let them use that for sandblasting and wherever it is that you need to sandblast something. And if whatever you can't sell to Black Construction or Hawaiian Rock or the mechanic down the street, it's glass. It was originally made of sand. You take it to the beach and you stick it in the water.
There you go.
Because it originally came from sand, so we're just putting it back to where it come from. Melanie Mendiola is online right now on the Facebook Live. These are things that it seems to me that Gita might be able to put together some packages that would encourage that kind of public-private partnership, where we get businesses that will line up and get these glass pulverizers. I cannot imagine. Just the people that you and I hang out with that drink a lot of wine. Right? You've been to their house, and they got paintings. They got montages on the wall that are made out of the little out of the corks from the wine. So all of those came out of bottles. Where's the bottles? They're all at the Ordot. They're all over at Luzon, taking up space. We ought to be able to do something with that. That's, in my mind, that's a waste. Melanie saying hi. Hi, Melanie. Good to have you on. What was I saying about styrofoam? What did we do before styrofoam? Paper plates and the waxy paper plates. Yeah, I remember all of that, and everything tied up in the tin foil. But the new conventional wisdom is the new way things are getting done is we're either putting it in styrofoam, or I come to your house and all of my balutan is now in 5-gallon Ziplocs. There is nothing. You could you could feed yourself for an entire week if you took 4 or 5 of these things to a friend's house at the end of a fiesta or graduation ceremony and filled them all up with there's the fried rice over here and the salads over there and the ribs and the chicken and all of that stuff, and you've got enough for a couple of shelves at your kitchen. So that in my mind is the way we do things, and then people are going to say, but it's plastic, it's bad for the environment. I don't know. And it's the hardest thing in the world to reuse is 5-gallon Ziplocs, right?
It is, yeah. The old Tupperware days were better, where you put your last 4 of your Social Security on the bottom there, and somehow you get it back to you. Yeah.
Somehow, some way, they'll always come back. Nick Perlowski asking, didn't somebody propose using pulverized glass mixed with paint for the roads for its reflective properties? For the places where we striped them, I guess. Something like that could happen. Look, this is not a hard conversation to have anymore. I mean, the technology is there. A lot of it you can buy out of China. It's not heavy. It runs on regular motors that you can buy. I was going to say at Island Equipment, just a standard like a pool motor or something like that, and it will pulverize the glass and get it going. WI says, in 91, we had a glass crusher at the Ordot landfill. Its leg was broken, rendering it unusable. I believe it cost about $200,000, and then it became scrap metal after being used for less than 6 months. There was another device that they had at the Ordot dump that they used exactly once. They plugged it in, and I don't think it was a glass pulverizer. It was some kind of crushing machine. And they turned the thing on. They had all the guys from KUAM and Guam Cable TV, and they turned it on, and there was a flame shot out the top of it, and somebody said, "Oh, that's not supposed to happen," and then it was never ever repaired. It was never ever repaired. I mean, a testimony to how bad things were then, and why a receiver sounded like a pretty good idea. 8:54 in the morning. There's always more that you and I can talk about, and among them, I suppose, is waiting out the guys over in the committees and et cetera over at the legislature to get moving on some of these bills that could turn into laws that would provide a degree of control over the more generous and maybe even timid judges that we've got around here. There's a guy who was telling you a story about somebody yesterday that should have self-reported to prison for his 88-day sentence. He's a drug dealer. The cops did it. The cops did a buy with this guy, a supervised buy with this guy. Guilty, guilty, guilty. He made some kind of a plea agreement, and he's going to go in for 88 days. And they even let him. Because this case was like last week before, and he said, but I'd like to spend some time with my family before I go to jail. Is that okay? And I said, oh, okay.
Yeah, let's ask the victim that. But we're looking. There are several bills out there that are making things harder or stiffer on criminals, and they will be coming to the floor, getting through the committee. So things are moving, and we hope to see a lot of them on session floor for a vote up here soon.
Gotcha. Sam also talking about restaurants using biodegradable takeout containers and biodegradable forks and knives and all of that kind of stuff that I know of. It hasn't affected me in the pocketbook, and I hope they're able to continue to do all of those kinds of things in the near term. 8:56 in the morning. Dude, I'm going to let you run because I know how busy you are.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
I will, sir. You have a good day as well. It's closing in on 9 o'clock in the morning, and I just kind of looking over things and always incredible conversations with him. There was a little bit more to conversations that I had with him and a couple of other guys that involved some of what I consider to be a takeover, if you will, of our military buildup by these guys in Hawaii. Maybe more on that a little bit later on in the program. 8:56. Got time to bring in Bob Kelly. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning.
You're back. Welcome home.
Thank you. Got back last night. Just very quickly in the trash area. Waste Energy takes care of the plastics. They're high in hydrocarbons. They make a lot of power. Instead of all this trying to change everybody's total lifestyles, we just need to make people put the stuff in the trash, have it go into a waste energy plant, and get some power out of it. It also solves the waste oil problem and the tire problem.
Yeah, but here's a thing, Bob, and you and I have been having conversations like this on talk radio for forever. It's not going to happen. There's things these guys are going to get all wrapped up around this thing. We're going to have to figure out how we're going to break the lawsuit that GRP has with the government of Guam and GITA. We're going to have to figure out a way to get past the administrative hurdle that is a statute that bars incineration and waste energy here on Guam, and we're going to have to figure out what to do about a license one way or the other once it's out that may not be in the best interests of the Guam Power Authority and its ratepayers.
Okay, well, here's the problem. We got too tied up into personalities.
Oh, God, yeah.
Not look objectively on how to deal with the problem over the last 25 years.
Agree.
And that's cost the people of Guam hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, hundreds of millions of dollars.
Well, imagine an immediate savings of $30 million if we didn't have to build a new hole in the ground for our trash over at Luzon. And the crazy thing is we had all this.
If we would have objectively dealt with the trash as an island in the beginning without getting all the BS in here and personalities, we would not have gotten a receiver. And the waste energy is clean. Look at Hawaii. Look at Tokyo. Look at Taiwan. Many places are doing this because they don't have the land to put the trash in. And here we are on an island trying to do it our way instead of looking at how other places properly handle this, and it gets rid of it. I like your idea of pulverizing glass. You get the glass out, you burn what can be burnt. The stuff that is garbage will end up decaying. Take the metals out. The metals are worth shipping to the States. The paper and the plastics are not. We could set up something where we would have very little waste going into the landfill. But instead, we got so tied up in passing laws because we didn't like somebody, we didn't like a company. And I get that, but that was all political personality and no objective technical engineering to solve the problem.
Yeah, that's the problem, is nobody wants to listen to experts. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, Bob. I'll talk to you pretty soon. Maybe after you've been on the ground for a couple of days, you can tell me about what plans you're hearing about to move forward with the Next Gen 911.
Okay, bye-bye.
Good man. I'll talk to you soon. 888-825-5888 TALK. Different ways to get a hold of me, RayGibsonShow@gmail.com, or you can just WhatsApp me, 988-5874. It's 9. Here's Fox News.
He'll have to hand them over. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump reacting a short time ago after a federal judge ruled he cannot block a subpoena of his financial record.
We think it's the
Wrong. It's totally the wrong decision by, obviously, an Obama-appointed judge. He was a recent Obama-appointed judge.
The president speaking as he was heading to a rally this evening in Pennsylvania. The president and his business organization sued to block the subpoena issued in April to an accountant for the president and the Trump organization. This is former White House counsel Don McGahn will ignore a subpoena compelling him to testify before the House Judiciary Committee tomorrow.
The White House directed McGahn to ignore the subpoena, relying on an opinion from the DOJ's legal counsel stating that based on long-standing bipartisan and constitutional precedent, the former counsel to the president cannot be forced to give such testimony, and Mr. McGahn has been directed to act accordingly.
Fox's John Decker at the White House. Tornadoes touching down in parts of Oklahoma and Texas, but the area remains in danger of severe weather at least through tomorrow morning.
We are looking at a threat of hail, strong winds, and flooding as well.
Matthew Day with the National Weather Service in Norman, Oklahoma. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt said in a statement the State Emergency Operations Center is activated and urged motorists to not drive around barricades or into flooded roadways. A 16-year-old from Guatemala has died at a Border Patrol station in South Texas, becoming the fifth death of a migrant child since December. U.S. Customs and Border Protection saying the teen was apprehended in the Rio Grande Valley May 13th and was found unresponsive this morning. A lawyer says 3 handwritten wills have been found in the Detroit area home of Aretha Franklin months after her death, including one that was discovered under cushions in the living room. I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
Legends aren't born, they are made. And during our Jeep Celebration event at Cars Plus and Mighty, you'll receive up to $6,000 in accessories for the purchase of a new Jeep Wrangler, Motor Trend SUV of the Year. Customize your new Jeep to the way you want it. Or how about a new Jeep Grand Cherokee? Save up to $5,000. Or save up to $7,500 on a new Jeep Compass Sport. It's our Jeep Celebration event going on now at Cars Plus and Mighty. Cars Plus, driven by you. Accessory special cannot be combined with other offers. See dealer for details.
Hey, it's Mom. Somebody forgot to thaw the chicken, so meet us at Chili's for 2 for $25. Oh, and congratulate your sister for making the basketball team. She's thrilled. Love you. See you at Chili's.
Enjoy 2 full meal combos for $25. An appetizer, 2 mouth-watering entrees like our crispy chicken breast, smoked barbecue quarter leg, or smoked jalapeno cheddar sausage. Served with corn on the cob and french fries. 2 bold combos for $25. A full-on meal deal available nightly for a limited time. Together, we Chili's.
An arrest in Alabama of a suspected cop killer.
Auburn, Alabama police say it all started when they responded to a report of a domestic disturbance at a trailer park. Once they pulled up on the scene, it was nearly immediate gunfire. Police say Grady Wilkes shot 3 police officers, killing 1. About 9 hours later, Wilkes was captured. During the manhunt, police and the U.S. Marshal Service were looking for a man described as heavily armed, wearing body armor and camouflage. The Auburn police chief says they had no prior contact with Wilkes, but court records show late last year a woman filed a protective order request against him. In Miami, Phil Keating, Fox News.
A high school senior who authorities say brought a shotgun to school in Portland, Oregon, but was tackled by a security guard has pled not guilty to gun-related charges. Angel Granados Diaz entered the plea during a brief hearing this afternoon. The NFL has announced new initiatives focusing on the physical and mental health of their players.
The NFL and the NFL Players Association announcing a joint agreement Monday that will require every team to employ a mental health professional to work in its building. Also with the establishment of a comprehensive mental health and wellness committee and a joint pain management committee. That pain management committee could conduct research into alternative therapies, which the NFL's chief medical officer noted Monday could lead to discussion over marijuana and CBD products potentially being okayed by the league for player use. That committee also comes with the introduction of a new prescription drug monitoring program that will keep track of all prescriptions issued to players by team doctors and outside physicians. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
FCC Chairman Ajit Pai saying he supports T-Mobile's $26.5 billion takeover of rival Sprint because it'll bring faster broadband to people in rural areas in a crucial step for the merger's approval. The full commission of 3 Republicans and 2 Democrats must still vote, and the Justice Department must also still approve the merger. I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
Expect
Experience the Take Care difference. Take Care members can count on accessing a high-quality, credentialed network of on-island providers, including the convenient one-stop FHP Health Center and urgent care, access to an extensive off-island network of providers, and the island's largest offering of free fitness classes and health education programs. You can count on Take Care to deliver comprehensive, accredited insurance coverage and quality health care when and where you need it. Take Care. Our island, your health plan. Learn more at takecareasia.com.
Just after, 9 o'clock in the morning, the portions of the Ray Gibson Show that I find most entertaining are brought to you by American President Lines. Micronesia Renewable Energy. Wait. APL is shipping the future. Micronesia Renewable Energy now has batteries. You need batteries because what it does, it'll charge the batteries with the solar, and then when the sun goes down, you don't need to take as much from if anything, from the Guam Power Authority. So I really do want you to try to get up with them and find out how to get that at your house. Guam Regional Medical City, and they're first in your mind for specialty care. In the newspaper this morning, GRMC conducts procedure never done on Guam before. And what we're going to be doing, I know a little bit more about this. I was wrong. They're not going to be. They're looking for brain donors. They've looked at the legislature and said, "Oh, you guys have already been in there."
Yeah, they came to the wrong island, bro.
Already had that procedure done. Okay, so they're going to be looking for something like that. Actually, what is it? Dr. Joe Wiederman says this new procedure allows us to image plaque and obstructions from inside of the artery and gives us a much more anatomical detail when angiography. Oh, and more anatomic than angiography, helping to guide medical decision-making. The image produced by intravascular ultrasound imaging is clear enough to allow Wiederman to perform pre-intervention studies to determine which medical devices he will select based on the presence and the amounts and the nature of the calcium deposits in there. Never before done on Guam. We got a guy at GRMC can do that. Let's hear it for specialty care, right? Also brought to you by Cars Plus. And for those of you that wondering, if what's the segue between GRMC and Cars Plus, is this doctor needs a Jeep. That's what we're going to do. Congratulate. Thank you very much for bringing this new technology and these new procedures to Guam. Go pick out a Jeep. And if he pays for it, then I didn't say he was getting it for free. Then when he pays for it, $6,000 in accessories. You can get this deal over at Cars Plus. Up and mighty. Give him a ring today, would you?
News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out. The Ray Gibson Show.
I was looking at stories on Facebook, mostly because I've got a story up on Facebook. Every once in a while, I'll see somebody tag something up in the deal, and I'll go, dude, I like the way that sounds. I'm going to steal that and put it on my page. So it's this. It was a writing that a girl put up there, and it says, sometimes all you need is 20 seconds of insane courage. Just literally 20 seconds of just embarrassing bravery, and I promise you something great will come of it. Now, that's a long way of saying something you've heard me say on the radio a million times. Courage is always rewarded. But I kind of like the way this is put together. Insane courage. Just literally 20 seconds of just embarrassing bravery. And I promise you something great will come of it. When was the last time that you took that kind of a chance? This is the last time that and I don't know what kind of a, in my head, the closest thing to it is finding somebody that is clearly above your station and saying, let's go to dinner. Let's go have some drinks and some laughs or something like that. Huh? What's the worst thing that she could say? What's the worst thing he could say? That just so sometimes, kind of the potential for embarrassment is high. But the answer might be yes. The answer is no to every question you don't ask, right? 9 after 9. And this one here on Facebook, and it's rare that he's there, but my friend Evan Cohen put up a post that says, if anyone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said of you, but answer, well, he was ignorant of my other faults, else he would not have mentioned these alone. That's the way you do it. And coming from him, I think that says something. 9 after 9 in the morning, 888-825-5888-TALK. What's on your mind? What are you thinking about here today? Are you getting my buddy? This is awesome. I've got a note here that says that Black Construction Company has got a career day that's coming up towards the end of the month. I'm a fan of Black Construction Company and have been since I figured they've built virtually every home I've ever lived in and a lot of the businesses that you've ever been in. The guys over at Black Construction have probably had a hand in that somewhere, and so they're calling it kind of a career day. Mark Mamzar's on the line. How you doing, Mark?
Oh, I'm doing okay, Ray.
Always nice to hear from you. Tell me about this this career day that you've set up at Black Construction.
Yeah, well, this first one, it's kind of off season, but we thought we'd try to catch some of the graduates and see if we can't gain some interest in them.
Yeah.
And we expect to have some graduates, and then we're also looking at probably some of the teachers. We've been working with the superintendent and trying to make arrangements in order to try and get some direct contact with students in order to give them a little more idea of our industry.
Now, the construction industry is like any other industry. I mean, you might have in your head guys in hard hats and work clothes and dungarees and work boots out in the field. But there are so many, and especially with Black Construction, there's so many other places where you are able to punch your employees into different projects. And I might add, so many different places where Black Construction flies their flag.
Yeah, what we're doing with this one, we're actually going to do it in our Harmon facilities. I think you've been here before.
A couple of times.
Yeah, and it's in as you know, it's in the back of Harmon, and if you didn't know it was there, you can be quite surprised at what we have. And so what we thought we'd do on this one was get them through the shops and stuff versus the hot sun side of it, and let them try and get a feel for what all there is in construction, because as you're familiar with our facilities, you know, we've got sheet metal shops, we've got mechanic shops, we've got carpentry shops, rebar shops, and we've got quite a bit of shops back here in Harmon. And just you know, give them a flavor of a little bit more, like you say, of what construction's all about.
Yeah, well, and there's so many different places to do it. And one of the things that excites me a lot these days is the number of women who have wandered into the construction field. And I know that you guys have been kind of at the forefront of that, kind of at the vanguard of bringing more women into construction.
Yeah, that's always been a challenge. I mean, the NIWAC, the National Association of Women in Construction, has really started to pick up activity here. It's still a big challenge out in the field, so to say, in the where the projects are being built.
Well, they need to have more activities. You know, I know they had one, was it 3 Squares not that long ago, and another one at the old Harley shop about a year ago. The Nowick ladies need to get more excuses to get together and show really what a fun time it is and what the other opportunities are for women in the construction trades.
Yeah, I think they do it a little more than maybe you see all of them.
That's possible. That's possible. I can't get to all the parties, Mark. just some of the good ones. So tell me a little bit on the career day. When's is it? I think May the 25th is what I got in my calendar.
Yeah, that's Saturday. We're going to do we'll set up and open some of our shops on Saturday, and we also have a field trip coming in from Ukadu on Friday, I think, as well. And what when you know, we'd love to get a great turnout on this. We don't really expect it because school is kind of shutting down, and it's a Saturday. But we wanted to work with the school this year, not wait to next year. We didn't want to wait. They push their career days more in October, around there, than they do now. And our intention will be to take what we learned from here and put it to work in October as well.
Well, I like the idea, and I like the outreach. I think there's some great upsides for all of these things, and including, you know, just for people that have got some kind of wanderlust in their lives. I mean, I got to point this out here because I made the point about Black Construction, and you figure you take a look at the vista and the skyline that we've got here. Virtually every building that has gone up has some work, some function of Black Construction involved in the DNA of those buildings, if not the entire construction period. And you've got road work that has been done over the years by Black Construction guys, and my buddy Joe Leasealangi is picked up a couple of awards that Black Construction got, major industry awards for work that they've done here, but also work that you guys are doing out in Diego Garcia.
Yeah, we're out of Guam. We are actually probably one of the few true corporate headquarters in Guam.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a parent company that's much bigger. We're traded on the New York Stock Exchange, but everything we do out in this region is done out of Guam. So right now, as we speak, we're up in Saipan doing 7-story high-rise low-income housing for Triple J, and we're, as you say, out in Diego, we've got about about $60 or $70 million worth of work. We do $25 million a year in the Philippines. We do Guam, and then if something piques our interest in some of these other islands, we just got back from Wake Island.
Yeah,
we're finishing demobbing Wake Island, and we've recently been to Chuuk.
Oh, I was going to say, a couple of notices here from the governments. I want to say, I was just looking at it this morning, wondering if anybody might try to line up some of this work. I want to say that YAP, Kosrae, there it is, Kosrae International Airport new electrical vault project, and YAP International Airport new electrical vault product. You've got electricians and guys that can make their way through all of these things, so it's possible that there might be some kids from here going to those islands to get some work done.
Yeah, both of those projects are probably in a $3 to $5 million range, and probably aren't enough to get us excited into that place. What we're waiting for in the YAP is they're going to rebuild the runway.
I see. So I'm sorry. Now this is all scale stuff. So my producer is going, "What? You're stepping over $3 million projects? It's bandwidth, right? I mean, if these guys are going to mobilize, they're going to mobilize for the big."
Yeah. That's basically, when we go into those places, it's got to be a decent-sized project for us to get in and get out and pay for it all.
All right. Well, parents especially, if this sounds interesting to you, and you've got some kids in the house that don't quite know what they want to do with their lives, it is a career day, Saturday over at Black Construction, the compound out in the back. They'll take care of just about everything. What time do you want people to start showing up for that, Mark?
I think that they're starting it at 9. I'm not actually on the committee.
That's all right. So there's notice. Actually, there's notice on Facebook. I saw a couple of places on Facebook, and I'll see if I can share some more of the details on my Facebook location, because I do want people to at least be interested in what's going on, just for the sheer opportunities. Now, when Mark says I've been to the compound, I've been at the compound on a couple occasions for the anniversary celebrations, and there are people that have been working for Black Construction since the beginning, since Jesus was running a shovel, right? There have been people there at Black Construction, and there are multi-generational aspects of this as well. You've got fathers and working side by side with their sons on projects.
Yes. And I know we've got a lot of sons where their fathers have retired.
Yeah, and plenty of those. Plenty of those. Well, I'm delighted to be a part of the process here and see if I can get more guys there, so that next time I'm there, we're doing the 70th anniversary. I got some guys that can say that they got started on a career day over at Black Construction.
Appreciate it.
Not a problem. So you're going to turn down an opportunity for a $3 or $4 million project on Kosrae. That means I probably couldn't get your attention if I wanted to do a little fourplex in Tamuning, right?
Probably not.
I didn't think so. Yeah, well, maybe offline conversation. Tell me about the guys that might be able to get it done.
Okay.
All right, man. I'll talk to you pretty soon. Mark Mamza.
Harder and harder to find.
I hear that. That's that. And people ask me, what are you going to do with that property? I said, well, as soon as the prices come down for construction, might be able to do something that makes sense. I was hearing from realtor guys. I mean, this is just us talking now. But I was hearing from some realtor guys not that long ago that said, even if I was to build new on property that was ultimately designated or designed to be modeled for military, pretty soon those margins are starting to come down. Just the cost of the construction, cost of the manpower. All of a sudden, the margin's not as big for what would be 5 years ago a great idea.
Well, I think one of the things that people don't realize is that we're starting to, in the last 3 or 4 years, starting to see some growth in wages in our industry.
We've seen a what in wages?
Reasonable growth. So, you still got the challenge, no matter what you do, and I'll take a crack at minimum wage here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not one for raising the minimum wage, and it's not so much that I want to hold my costs down. it's more a question of one of the problems we have on this island is ESL and a lack of high school education.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so many of the people that are in the minimum wage category don't have a high school education, can't really read an instruction, can't really write, have trouble with math. And, when you have trouble with all those areas, you also have trouble following instructions. And so, a lot of the holdback on this island for the people to grow, and that's what we're trying to do with this career day, is the fact that they're held back by their own knowledge, their own ability to what they've done in school. That even in the construction industry, a carpenter or any other apprentice requires a high school graduation. Because even a carpenter has to read.
How many of these kids have got the diploma, but they just kind of, here you go, it's time for you to leave. Here's your diploma. You've spent enough time here. You can go and do something else now.
Yeah, and
don't necessarily graduate with the math skills or the English skills, but that has been the condemnation for years. So you watch the minimum wage go up, and I know that Dr. Jones had some conversation about this recently and has done some research, but maybe her research shows less of what my concerns are, and that is that the number of work hours is going to go down for a lot of employment, or there will be less hiring of certain positions. I don't know if you saw this at today's page 12 of the Daily Post. A new perk for fast food workers. Now, these are folks generally at the bottom of the working world, right? We're not talking about a whole lot of skills required to go in and flip a burger and fill a bag, and sometimes they can't even get that right. But the new perk for fast food workers: finish a shift and get cash to go. And this is in places where the employment rate is through the roof. Everybody is working, and it's hitting a lot of these low expectation jobs, fast food workers and things like that. It's really hitting these businesses hard. But notice that I'll pay you today. Right? I'll give you 80% of your wages for your work today, so you can go out and have a good time and don't and not have to worry about holding out for 2 weeks worth of pay, or getting paid every 2 weeks. But they're not adding to the hours, and they're not adding to the wages. They're adding. It's a non-cash. It's a cash perk, obviously, but it doesn't cost the business any additional money. So that's what they're trying to do. We can't afford to pay you anymore to flip the burger or fry the chicken.
Yeah.
So we'll give you a perk, and we'll pay you out at the end of the day is going to be your reward.
Unfortunately, what happens in our entry level workforce, which is minimum wage, is the poor education really limits their growth, and that in turn, how much time do I need to spend supervising this person extra because they can't read, write, and properly follow instructions because they just haven't had sufficient education.
Well, and unfortunately, you weed that out of the application and the interview process, and the guy's going to go to the next place, and he's going to get rejected there for about the same reason. So we got to spend a lot more time, I think, working with these kids and letting folks in the education industry know what it is that businesses are looking for. Some minimum expectations of these guys leaving the shop. 9:23, Mark. Always a delight talking with you. I always learn something. We'll get together again soon, and count on me to continue plugging the career day.
Okay, appreciate it.
All right, buddy. 888-825-5888-TALK. Did you just hear one of the big shots over at Black Construction identify what he believes among our biggest problems are with the workforce? They've graduated from high school, and here's the diploma. See, I graduated. What does the diploma say? Don't know, can't read it. Somebody read it to me, and it made me very proud. I'm so very proud of all of that. It's not going to happen to everybody. It's not going to happen to everybody. Public schools are graduating some smart kids. You're listening, a very good chance. Maybe you went to a public high school, went all the way through the public school system, and I guarantee someday, so it was a tiger mom or a tiger dad that had your head in the books the entire time. How many kids did you graduate with that were there because I need to see my chick, and my chick goes to school? My boyfriend's there, and they just walk around hand in hand, and nobody's studying. And then before too much longer, somebody gets in trouble for drugs, somebody gets pregnant, and there goes the problems.
I have seen the case where a reasonably gifted athlete was helped through high school and given a diploma, and he could not even read his own name on the diploma.
Yeah, well, and so once his gifted athleticism begins to fade at about 25 in a lot of sports.
Yeah, and understand, he wasn't that gifted. He was gifted for high school and maybe college. That was it.
Those are the issues. Richard Leon said GDOE should be listening. No good education. No good education leads to crime. We got to find a way, and unfortunately, in a lot of cases, the tools are there already for these kids. But I don't know, tough to get them to knuckle. What we used to call knuckle down. That was what the older guys said when it was time. And I remember being 13 years old in my 13th summer, and I was about to go to Father Duenas and be a freshman at that school. And I remember goofing off around, and there was one of the older guys, one of my older relatives, who says, "Dude, you're going to FD. Knuckle down. Just get ready for the work, because it's gonna start." And to the degree that I remember it, and to the degree that is not the same to the degree that I actually did knuckle down. You know, I'm a fake it till I make it kind of guy, and I managed to fake it all the way through the school year. I did, though, have to go, and this is the reason why Simon Sanchez says I'm no good at math. Right? The reason it is because I had to go to summer school every year in mathematics. Yeah. Math in real time is hard for me, and I had a hard time because they break it down in 45-minute chunks, right? So by the time I started to get comfortable with whatever the topic we were going through in math, you know, then we'd switch to science, or then we'd switch to English or history or something like that. And then, you know, I'd have to start the process all over the next day. But summer school was awesome. And I even took it at the university. I went in. I didn't need to based on my test scores, but I took accelerated mathematics programs at the University of Guam because I could be assured that would be all that was in front of me for like 4 weeks. We're going to put you in an accelerated math course, and that's what you're going to talk about from 8 o'clock in the morning until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We're just punching through math. And I always got good grades in those classes, but regular math class, regular other classes at Duenas as well, but the only ones they failed me in was math.
Yeah, you and I have talked about it, and we're right in the same thing. I mean, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, failed math all 3 years. I finished summer school early, 8th grade, got a straight 100. My dad looked at me and he said, "No, we're not ever going to do this again. Yeah. You just get your butt to work."
Got to stay in school. 888-8255-888-TALK. Lots of comments on the Facebook. Nate says sometimes it's teachers who don't want to hurt the kids, so they pass them. Social promotions, they say. Other times it's the parents who don't care. Good morning. Hazel Iglesias online. Sometimes a kid does need to get left behind. Yeah. I retain. That was the word. That was the word when we were kids. Is you might be able to go to summer school on something, but you know, if you've got a whole folder full of classes that you took that you didn't get sufficiently good numbers in, and I know they hated doing it, but they'd go to you and say, "I'm sorry, you can't go to the 5th grade." Well, all my friends are going to be in the 5th grade. They're going to laugh at me. Well, then work harder in the 5th grade and impress the new friends that you're going to have when you repeat the 4th grade. What? Really? You can do that? And they did. Oh, you don't need the music on that one. There's people of a certain age that are listening that know that kind of pain because they seen it. And they go back to school the next year and they start looking around and go, "Hey, where's Ken?" Ken's still there in the 4th grade. Flunking. That's what they called it.
Didn't they point at you and laugh?
Yeah. But, you know, how many people that got retained knuckled down?
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden became the guys that would be the academic leaders in school.
Truth be told, and you and I, you know, we're grown now, and I realize looking back that if my dad had just let me do 6th grade over one time, I never would have failed again and might have even graduated early. It might have been enough to just really push me into a different level.
Yeah, it was never even a conversation at the house. I mean, there was just no. I mean, if come home home with anything less than C's in any course.
Right.
That was
Yeah.
man.
Oh, no.
No more television and no comic books and no telephone. You come home and you go to your room and then you just study, and I want to see your grades. I want to see your homework. I mean, there was.
And you can look out the window on weekends and watch your friends play.
Yeah.
While you still stay at home doing something else.
Bottom of the hour on the radio station. I just got a note from somebody who is in absolute denial. She's just now getting around to watching yesterday's episode of the Games of Thrones, and I think there's probably going to have to be counseling at some point. No, it's true. I don't mind because there's usually tequila involved in that kind of counseling. It's not for me, for medicinal purposes only. It's 9:30. That's iConnect time. Swing by the nearest iConnect and learn what you need to learn about making your way with maybe less bandwidth than you need. Right? For just I need to make and receive a phone call. Why do I have to spend $175 a month for my connectivity? You don't. Call them up and they'll tell you about some great plans that they've got. Hey, they got some that might even include the phone for nothing. Bottom of the hour, 888-8888.
The Crazy 19 menu at King's Restaurants is back with all your breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites. Fun pancakes, tasty sandwiches, and the local dishes you crave for a limited time on the Crazy 19 menu at King's.
If you're driving, chances are you'll need gas soon. And by the growl in your tummy, a trip to the grocery store too. But don't just buy gas and groceries without getting double miles. Instead, apply for the new United credit card from First Hawaiian Bank and start earning double miles towards your next trip. Gas, groceries, getaway. With the new United credit card, apply at FHB.com. First Hawaiian Bank, member FDIC. Equal housing lender. Additional terms, conditions, and restrictions apply.
Riff on what my friend is writing. She's sitting there watching the last episode of Game of Thrones and basically live tweeting to my WhatsApp. There are things that I want to say, but I don't want to say them on the WhatsApp, and I certainly don't want to say them on the air. I'll give you some time to get through all of that stuff. We're talking about the Black Construction Career Day that is going to be coming up, and Mark actually gave me the opportunity to hear his thoughts on minimum wage and what's going to be happening. And it is a point that we try to make from time to time, and I think it gets lost. And there's a conversation that's going to take place over at the legislature on a measure. Let me scooch down. I'm looking because I was looking at it earlier today, and it just made me laugh out loud. That is Guam relative to responsibly raising the minimum wage, and it's already got enough backers that this is going to happen. And I'm amused because I'm looking over the names of all of the people that are signed up and think that this is going to be just the greatest thing in the whole wide world. And I'm wondering, of all of them, how many of them have ever actually run a business? How many of you have actually hired somebody with and paid them with money that you made from your business? And how many times have you looked out at the people going, there's not enough work going on here? You guys sitting around talking about Game of Thrones and barbecues and food and all of this stuff here. Come on. I don't want to pay you for that time, guys. No, we don't. I've worked in the government all my life. Or I've worked for somebody else all of my life. Never been responsible to the treasurer. Never been responsible to payroll. Take a look at the names of the people there and ask yourself out loud, how many of them have actual real world business chops? But they're going to go out there and they're going to raise the minimum wage, quote, responsibly. Responsibly. So watch how all of that happens, and watch what happens in the community with people that may not have the skills to even earn a minimum wage job. That's where we are, and that's where I am kind of in my head. 888-825-5888-TALK. Carl's there. Our Carl, as Bob Klitsky calls him.
Good morning, Ray.
Buenos Genhafade.
Yes, yeah, I was listening to. I caught the tail end of some of your conversation with the guy from Black Construction.
Mark Mamzar, smart guy, great contractor.
Yeah, and I was thinking, about the recent discussion and debate about the minimum wage, and I believe the minimum wage is a political solution. It papers over two huge failures of government. One of them is the failure to create the economic environment through policies to entice businesses and business capital thousands of miles out to Guam to create more job opportunities. When this is done properly, the minimum wage becomes irrelevant. I saw an article many years ago about Minneapolis. The economy was doing very well at the time. I don't know how it's doing now. But the starting wage at McDonald's in Minneapolis, this was several years ago, was $11. And this isn't because government, in all its benevolence, came in and waved the magic wand and said, you guys need to raise your minimum wage or the entry-level wages. They were doing it out of self-interest because the economy was doing so well that workers had many, many options. And if they didn't treat the workers properly, they had 5 or 10, 15 other options, and they were out the door. So they'd invest all this money in these people in training, and it just the turnover was killing them. So they were forced to do to raise wages and provide better benefits. And if they handle the economy properly, the minimum wage becomes an irrelevant issue because wages are pushed up because you have more and more companies and employers bidding for labor, the labor pool out there. What we've got right now is an abundance of labor and limited
and low skills,
yeah.
no motivation.
And that's the other failure, gigantic failure of government that they're trying to paper over with this bill, and that is providing people coming out of high school with requirements to do the job.
Well, can I give you the ultimate insult here? This is they're basically hurling at all of the taxpayers and the voters an insult, and nobody else is going to see this except me. I'm the only one that has pointed this out. They are talking about responsibly raising the minimum wage, and Joe S. in Augustin has said on a couple of occasions. One of them made me laugh out loud. He said we have to pay it forward. And so he wants to pay it forward with somebody else's money. So that's laugh number one. And he also notes the drastic increase in the cost of living here on Guam. Do you know why the cost of living has gone up so much in the last year?
You tell me.
Because they raised the gross receipts tax. They raised the business privilege tax. Universally, we all pay that. And the answer to the question is not an artificial adjustment of a minimum wage, something that is not going to impact everybody. You want to impact the cost of living for all of us here on Guam. Civilians, military, private sector, public sector. I'll give you two ways to do it right now that will make a significant difference. One of them is roll back the gross receipts tax to 4. You want to make it even better for everybody? Take it back to 3. Take it down to 3, right? The government, and I'll tell you how the government's still going to get the money. But you knock that thing all the way down, and then everybody will have a few more dollars that they can spend in the grocery stores, at the restaurants, at the bars, at the Home Depot, at the Benson, places like that. Right? So you got that happening. If you were to roll back or eliminate the liquid fuels tax, that would be a major impact on hardworking, struggling families all around the island at every level of our social structure. So you don't need to mess around with the minimum wage. You don't need to do that, in my mind. And the people that are responsible for this, I told you it was going to happen when they raised it. I said they're going to raise the business privilege tax, and it will drive the cost of goods going up, and then they will try to ride in here with a white horse, saying that the minimum wage is the only thing that we can do to help the poor, hardworking people of Guam. Like I said, you can help everybody. Just roll it back to 4 and reduce or eliminate the liquid fuels tax. But that makes too much sense. So it's not going to happen, and it's not something that's going to get people votes, I don't think. They want to get They want to get votes. They want to be able to say, "I voted for the increase in the minimum wage for the hardworking people of Guam." And you know what? You could have helped out the hardworking people of Guam if you'd have gotten rid of that cockamamie increase in the business privilege tax that we didn't. As it turns out, I don't believe we needed anyway.
Yeah, all the studies that I've read about, and this is like over 80 to 90% of the economists that have looked at the issue have come away with the opinion that
So you got the radio going on in the background. So it's called robot feedback. You're hearing it. It's distracting you.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's distracting us all. So why don't you turn that down? We'll have finish the conversation tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, just one last thought I would toss your way, and I heard this on the Jim Bohannon show, which you guys had on a few weeks ago.
No, if you liked it, we'll play it again. Jim, every once in a while we get repeats, but go on.
Yeah, he brought up he was interviewing someone regarding a concept called micro-credentials. For most people, I mean, for some people, a 4-year degree is a good idea. For most people, I think it's a really terrible idea. It depends on the person and their career goals. But he brought up this concept of micro credentials, which takes a lot less time and a lot less money. My niece's boyfriend, who is an HVAC guy, an AC specialist, he works with a federal contractor, and he got exposed to boilers up on the military base, and he found out by taking a 90-day course he could be certified to work with boilers, and it would mean an automatic bump in his pay. And this is something we really need to look at and stop thinking about 4-year degrees. Community college, I think, is a better model to work with, but there are so many ways to get people the skills they need in a much more cost-effective and time-effective way, and I think micro-credentials are something we need to seriously look at pushing through something like the Guam Trades Academy.
There is when is they going to be doing this? Summer construction classes available to high school students through GCA, and they're offering classes to GDOE and participating private school students as well. When I get somebody on the line that I can talk to more about this, then I'll see if I can do this. Program first implemented December 2014. Participating students will take classes weekdays, Monday through Friday at the Trades Academy in Barragata. First session takes place June 10 to July 2. Second session, July 3 to July 16. Specific times for each group will be provided once the students are registered. For information, call 300-1247 or call the GDOE Career Pathways Project, 300-1564. You know, all these years later, and it's still weird for me to read phone numbers that start with 300. Carl, I got to run. I'll talk to you pretty soon.
Okay, thanks, Ray.
All right, buddy. Listen for you on the Tall Tales program. And again, I got to call your attention to this here. We get this story. New perk for fast food workers. Finish a shift and get your cash to go. The idea is we're not paying you anymore for this job. We're not, and these are in places where, as Carl was pointing out, hey, there's just virtually everybody's got a job. So you get these fast food companies that say, well, we got to do something. We got to do more to encourage people to work here. They're not paying any more for the job. They're not throwing any additional cost benefits at people, or insurance, unemployment, whatever, right? But we will make it so if you work an 8-hour day, we'll pay you for 7 hours today. Right? The other one, we're going to go and that's going to cover things, right? But we'll give you the cash today. We're not adding hours because that costs real money. We're not going to be increasing your hourly wage because that costs money as well. But would you take that job, minimum wage area job here, $10 an hour, if you knew at the end of the day somebody's going to give you $70 in cash? No. No. I'll wait out 2 weeks. And that's the theory, is you're going to get the party kids that'll go, yeah, I'll take the $70 now. And then you got people that have got a little bit of extra, some latitude in their lives so that they can make it cover their bills every 2 weeks.
How are those kids going to pay their rent? How are they going to buy that vape juice?
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, because
you're going to get a certain amount of money every day.
Meth's expensive.
And all these kids are on meth. But that's my point, is you get these guys that are rolling through, and for them it's going, okay, well, still working 80 hours a week, and I get my money in my hands.
Seriously, when I was young and dumb, that actually might have sounded like a pretty good deal. Because kids, they don't have any vision of the future whatsoever. The future is before I go to bed.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, that actually makes sense for the kids. But for like a young family, that's not going to do them any good.
Interesting line here from Jesslyn Tiaco writing in this morning. Says, Jollibee managers on Guam make way more money than those in the Philippines, and they're doing the exact same job. Well, welcome to the United States of America. I don't think you could get a manager of Jollibees on Guam to work for the same pay that they get in the Philippines. No. My guess is that the employees that they have on the line at Jollibee probably make more money than managers of the Jollibees in the Philippines.
It's very
but in the Philippines, you want to talk about a virtually English-speaking, hard-working workforce, right? But there's lots of them. So you screw up as a manager at the Jollibees in the Philippines, I got 10 guys that I can call for this job right now. And they can be in this afternoon.
And not only that, but a large bottle of brandy only costs $2.
Yeah, well, it's not really brandy. That's why. It's just I think maybe I ought to point some of that out for you. We live in America. Americans deserve better pay. No, it's the cost of the job. It's the availability of the workforce that is able to do that job. Price of goods have went up regardless of tax increases, especially in housing. The U.S. military made it harder for working local families to find affordable housing. Yes, I agree. Don't disagree with that. But we have got to, and this is where they're talking about the failure of the government to be able to attract and build the industries and economies that will give the local kids here the incentive to get to improve their lives, improve what they've got in front of them so that they can compete. They can take those higher wage earning jobs and be able to compete with the military for that kind of housing. And yeah, there's a lot of landlords that have decided that that's the customer that I want to live in my house because they ain't going to be there any longer in a couple of years, right?
Yeah.
Just how much impact can a military family have on my house? Yeah, so I'm going to rent it to them. What's the alternative? Is the army of Section 8 people that want to live in your house? I'm living in a house that was leased to Section 8 people over the course of a number of years.
How many months did it take them to fix it back up where you could live in?
I'm not done. I'm not done. I've got an incredible amount of work to do in the house, and some of it is the age of the house, but some of it is the fact that there were people that were living there with somebody else's money and they didn't care.
Yep.
So that's just the short on that. 9:47 in the morning. Some days are better than the others. I'm going to tell you what. Let me. What do I have a call? Oh, Tom's there. Not yet. Tomas. Sorry. No, my life. I forgot you're on. Even though there's a light that blinks, that says get the phone because it's Tom.
I've been on hold since 6 o'clock this morning. Anyway. I am also against the raising of the minimum wage. You know why? They don't need it. You know why I say they don't need it? Because they already got food stamps. They already got the Section 8 housing subsidy. And they also got the regular welfare checks.
Yep, there you go.
If you get paid more than the minimum wage, you won't qualify for all of those benefits. So that's their increase already in their minimum wage salary, and it's bad for the employer if the businesses are forced to raise the minimum wage because everybody that's been getting paid above the minimum wage also has to go up, keep in balance, because you cannot expect that guy with no high school diploma to getting the same pay as that guy that got a 2-year college education. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, I know exactly what you're saying, and we're going to see that kind of thing. I think, and we have in past, where you've got an employee that has been working on the job. I've been here for a couple of years, and I've earned my way up to $10 an hour, and then the legislature increases the minimum wage to $10 an hour. So the next new hire, somebody that just got there, is going to be making the same dough with no experience, no time on the job, than the dude that was there since before. Since Carl Gutierrez was the governor.
Yeah, so that means every salary is going to have to go up. That means all of the price of goods at the stores is going to have to go up. for the business to survive, right?
That is my contention.
And that is the truth. That's the truth. That's what's going to happen. So anyway, with your conversation with Mark at the Guam Black Construction Company, I agree that we have a problem with our education system where we got to eliminate this thing about having these kids quit school just because they're already over 16. We got to require them. We have the power to do that by the Organic Act. We got to require them to stay in high school until above 18 years old. Because too many kids right now, all of these criminals that we have roaming around, they quit school when they were 16. So now they can't find a job because no employer is going to hire them because they don't have any brains up there in their head. So what they do, they go out and commit crime in order for them to live, to survive.
Where's the video? I don't know if you're someplace where you can watch, but I got this video yesterday and it made me laugh out loud. I think it's here. I couldn't tell you exactly where it is, but I think it's here. And you're talking about the clever sake that we have out there, or as we say in the village, the sake malanya that's out there. And so here's a guy who I go up to here and I look and I say, "There's a beer. I'm gonna take out my cash and pay for the beer." But this guy had a different idea when he went shopping. I don't think there's any audio on it, so it just narrated. It's a guy goes up and pulls a 6-pack of delicious, refreshing drink. Oh, and there's a little kid. I'll bet it's his daughter. And she's turning around like she's making that face like, "Oh, God, Dad's going to shoplift again." But Dad's not shoplifting. No, he gives the 6-pack of the delicious, nutritious nectar of the gods to his wife, or a woman that might be his wife. She pulls up her skirt, sticks the 6-pack in there, and walks out. Walks out with a 6-pack of beer up in never mind what it's up into.
Tucked quietly under the belly fat.
There you go. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. And it's just way to go, right? Way to go. I'll bet that guy graduated at the top of his class. Son of a gun. And that's all we needed to do is teach these people how to steal.
Anyway, back to the school, we have some teachers that are very knowledgeable in the subject matter, especially in math, but they just cannot teach. You know why? Because they just cannot explain to the student why this answer is the right answer for this problem. And some of our teachers cannot explain to the student why the student needs to know how to add fractions. A lot of students nowadays, they don't understand why they need to know this problem, how to solve this kind of problem, because they don't know the future that they're going to be needing to know how to add fractions.
Well, I need to know how to speak English. And everybody says, "No, I don't. I just type in the LOL and the OMG on the phone. That's all we need to do." We're getting to a point where we're not even going to bother to teach our kids how to write in cursive because they don't understand why you'd need something like that. I've picked up a pen and a pencil to write a letter in 10 years. But it's still important stuff to know. It's not the knowledge. It's knowing what you know. It's knowing what you don't know, and knowing the difference. And valuable ideas that come to you because you can think in different dimensions than just plus and minus. You need to be able to think in plus and minus and multiply and divide, and fractions do need to make sense, and ratios do need to make sense because it forces you to think in different dimensions.
And also our teachers nowadays have got to explain to the students that it's not just trying to know how to solve the quadratic equation, for example, or how to solve an equation. It's the thing that you need to exercise. You need to exercise your brain, just like you need to exercise your muscles. If you don't exercise your brain, it's gonna turn into mush inside your head.
And then the only job that will be good for you is a senator. or talk radio host.
Yeah,
dude, I gotta run. I'm gonna let you go.
Talk to you later.
I hope so. 953-888-8255-888-TALK. Oh, my God, this kid knows it's wrong, but the parents are the models. Yes, exactly. Exactly. She thinks it maybe I don't know. I could tell by looking at talking about the video that I showed a second ago. A little kid watching her mom and dad stealing. And so now she's going to go, "Oh, that's how that works." So all I need to do is get a big belly and a big skirt like Mom has, and then I can start stealing 6-packs of all of that stuff. And you might be looking and going, it's just that's what we got. That's the kind of people that we have living around here. I have seen similar videos from different places, and people that purport to be religious will hide stuff underneath their burqas.
But imagine the possibilities. Today, a 6-pack. Tomorrow, compact car.
Well, give you an example of guys that are exploring the possibilities now. This is the video footage of the heist that took place over at Champion Sporting Goods the other day. You got a guy who opens up the cash register. Hey, they took the money out of the cash registers. They stole it from me. I'm the only one that's allowed to steal from the cash register. Goes off camera, and then they start stacking up some Crossman pellet guns, and I think they were able to get away with some knives and things like that.
I really do suspect inside job here, because they just seem to be going directly for what they know. They're trying to get in there and they're making very quick time of this, and that unless they've just been in there many times casing the place, and but. Yeah, this smells of an inside job.
Yeah, they knew that there were going to be cameras trained on them, so they dressed the part. Other guys, maybe they wouldn't have taken that kind of time, knowing that they were just going to go in and do a quick grab of whatever money was in the cash register. But it looks like these guys, they lingered. They went to the stuff that was high value and grabbed it. Frankly, the only other high value things that I think, well, they don't sell cigarettes, or vape juice. There we are. Anyway, 9:55. Quick break. Be right back.
GRMC's Neuroscience and Neurology Department treats a wide spectrum of disorders associated with the nervous system, spine, and brain. Some of the more common disorders include seizures, epilepsy, dementia, sleep disorders, migraine, and stroke, which is one of the leading causes of death on Guam. GRMC's neuroscience team is equipped with the latest technology and the finest neurological doctors. To make an appointment, contact GRMC Specialty Clinics at 645-5500.
Business travel just got easier. Take your data plan with you for only $10 a day to all 17 Data to Go destinations. Never worry about additional data roaming charges when you go where your business needs you. The US, China, Thailand, and so much more. Have the assurance you need to check emails, surf the web, and stay connected. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your account is Data to Go ready. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
You know what I get to do today? Get to negotiate a health insurance policy. Right? I don't wanna. Why do I need insurance? What? Just die and dig a hole in the backyard and bury me in there.
Does that mean we're going to get a different one?
Oh, a different one?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, or you're just for you?
Yes.
Okay, personal. Yeah. That's fun. But at least you've had your colonoscopy.
I've had all of that stuff, reasonably in good health. But the last time I signed up with this company, they made me go get a physical, and they had to pee in something, and they took the blood and all of this other stuff.
But you didn't get any digits.
No. And the answer would have been no, thank you. No, we don't need that kind of physical. Just touch me all the way. But anyway, so I get to worry about doing something like that a little bit later on today. But then the good news is it's Tuesday on Guam, and Tuesday means it's Monday in the States, and Monday in the States means that there should be a new episode of Chernobyl on HBO today. And actually, one of the things I'd seen it online is one of the things that's really going around, almost viral, is the number of people that are trying to figure out how to get out from under their HBO subscription. How do I cancel my HBO subscription early? Because Game of Thrones is over. There's other shows on HBO. And if you watched the Game of Thrones yesterday, you will note that there was a long preview of upcoming shows for the rest of 2019 and 2020 coming up on HBO. So I guess the idea was, look, we know that there's a lot of you that are going to consider cutting your cord here when Game of Thrones is done. Leave it on for a little bit longer.
Shame.
Because there's more to come from HBO. And I think that they left some real big opportunities, speaking of Game of Thrones, for spin-offs and individual follow-ups on the Stark kids. So maybe there's something there that they'll be able to, keep the universe, the Westeros universe, going on. What's east of Westeros? Easteros. That's what's east of it. I got to go because it's 10 o'clock in the morning. Look, anything I didn't get to today, we'll try to get to tomorrow. And it's the Ray Gibson Show for Michael Knight, Kevin Kerrigan, Blake Watson, everybody else that's a part of the program here. Thanks so much for listening. I'll catch you tomorrow right here, Facebook Live 93.3, The Point, KUSG Agana. Stand by for Fox News Live.